start. Good afternoon. We will call this regular board meeting for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025 to order at 4:46 p.m. We do have executive session on top of the agenda today. Thank you for joining us, for the people in the audience. But first, roll call, please, Ms. Olson.
Director Pincus? Here. Director Carey?
Here.
Director Hafley?
Here.
Director Jorgensen?
Here.
Director Malpaca?
Here.
Director Ott?
Here.
All board members are present in person in the boardroom. Please join me as we observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Director Bankus, can you please make the motion to adopt the agenda?
I move that the Board of Education adopts the agenda as presented with the modification that non-action items 1.3 Policy KLG and Regulation KLG-R and 1.4 Policy JRA-JRC Student Records Release be moved to the action agenda as board action is required at this time in the light of recent Colorado legislation.
Second.
So just for verification, Ms. Olson, that non-action item was I.3? Okay, I.3 and I.4. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Director Pincus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpaca?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The agenda has been adopted with a modification. We do have executive session scheduled for roughly 45 minutes at this time. Director Carey, can you please make the motion to move into executive session?
I move that the Board of Education convenes into executive session to discuss legal advice per CRS 24-6-4024B, particular matter, litigation update regarding Colorado Civil Rights Division and Colorado High School Activities Association.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Director Pincus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpaca?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We will enter into executive session now and reconvene for our regularly scheduled board meeting at approximately 5:30 p.m. Thank you. Okay, good evening. Thank you for being here. We'll get the board meeting started momentarily. I'm waiting for the rest of the board members to join me up here on the board dais.
We'll see. At least I don't have to hand them out.
Okay. Good evening to all of you. We are reconvening in public session, and earlier this afternoon, the board adopted the agenda with the modification that non-action item I.3, policy KLG and regulation KLG-R, and I.4, policy JRA-JRC, student records release. Those two items are being moved from non-action to action agenda item as board action is required at this time. And there is a time constraint attached with that in light of recent Colorado legislative changes. We have returned from executive session and there is no need to modify the agenda further at this time. I want to, before we start the meeting, invite Ms. Kim Kincaid up here. She is our District 11 Visual and Performing Arts Facilitator, and the VAPA team had a prelude at the top of the board meeting this morning. Is Ms. Kincaid here?
Kim's still out there? I literally just saw her.
Okay. Well, all I wanted to do was acknowledge her and thank her and her team for the work that they do across the school district with our students and our staff. They are involved day in and day out, and to the community, please attend the school events that come out. Our kids are awesome performers, so we look forward as board members to visit our schools as well and get invites to attend these events. So thank you for the work that they do with the VAPA program in District 11. And I want to invite all of you in the audience this Wednesday, the first Wednesday after Labor Day. It's great to see several students. I was talking to some of them in the hallway, and staff as well that are present in the audience today. Our schools have been in session for roughly 2 weeks now. Several of us have been at open house events, back to school events, lots of energy and excitement at the start of the new school year. So thanks to all the building staff and the district leadership as well, all our teams for a smooth start to the school year. And as board members, as we are out and about in our schools, feel free to engage with us and share with us your experiences, both the positive stories and concerns or feedback that you may have so we can address them. Our focus this year is to ensure every child is engaged in our classrooms and receive the highest quality instruction that unlocks their full potential. So. It's good to see all of you back, and as I'm looking up there, I want to welcome Dr. Weiss back to our board meetings as well. She was on maternity leave. Welcome back. Welcome to the new, congratulations on the new addition to your family as well. But it's good to have you back supporting the board and the districts in our communication efforts. So thank you, and I'm going to have two students here, Ms. Sylvia Pardo and Elena Moore. Could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And we have several students and staff members possibly to recognize for awards and celebrations. Superintendent Gall, I'm going to hand that over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to get up here in a second and start bringing everybody in, but I just want, a lot of times people don't understand who all the students that are coming up. These are all our career and technical student organizations. We call them CTSOs. These are the way that our kids get a chance to get real life, real learning experiences outside of just the classroom. And so we've had 4 different groups, I believe 3 of them are here tonight to be celebrated, of their national level travel. So again, I want to make that relative that we get national level travel and awards for our students here inside of District 11. So without further ado, Melissa.
FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. FBLA helps students prepare for careers in business through academic competitions, leadership development, and networking opportunities with professionals across the country. Advisors for FBLA include from Doherty High School, Bruce Cole, retired, Sharman Newmeyer, and Andrew Schaefer. FBLA National Conference was held in Anaheim, California on June 29th through July 2nd, 2025.
Okay, raise your hand if you're with the FBLA group. Okay, now let's read the next ones and we'll let them all talk about it because they all come up together.
FCCLA, Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. FCCLA provides students with opportunities for personal growth, leadership development, student agency, and career preparation in family and consumer sciences. Students engage in competitive events that address real-world issues and career readiness, including culinary, teaching, entrepreneurship, fashion, and construction. Advisors include Dr. Brittany Hardy, Karen Gay, Stephanie Ager, and Kelly Gauck. Stephanie Boone and Rachel Holm are unable to attend this evening. This past summer, from July 5th through 9th, 2025, the FCCLA National Leadership Conference was held in Orlando, Florida, where students built valuable connections and excelled in their competitive events. Over 30 District 11 students proudly represented the district, competing at the national level with the support of their dedicated teachers. Lastly, congratulations to Mrs. Kelly Gauck, who was named the Colorado Association for Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year this past July. She will now advance as a Region 5 Teacher of the Year nominee.
Woo! So the FCCLA, people raise your hand so everybody knows it's a little bit different. Great. Let's go ahead and do the life skills as well.
Skills USA. Skills USA connects students with opportunities in both white and blue-collar career fields, offering competitions in areas like engineering, architecture, welding, construction, automotive, and various leadership-related events. It promotes professionalism, technical skill, and leadership. We had 6 students win their state-level competitions and were able to take all of them to nationals, which was held in Atlanta, Georgia, from June 23rd through June 27th. Advisors include Taylor Bedeau, Dawson Snipes, Jeff Newmeyer, retired. Skills USA Nationals were held in Atlanta, Georgia, from June 23rd through 27th, 2025.
Okay, busy summer, and let's get the Skills USA, show people who you are. Awesome. So let's go backwards. I always like to hear from Miss X. Why don't you tell us what was the best part about the trip and how does it relate most to your learning at Doherty?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Evelyn X, and this summer I was able to go to the National Conference for Skills USA in Atlanta, Georgia. First off, I would like to say a big thank you to the board and everyone who got us here, including our advisors and even parents who let us go on the trip in the first place. That was amazing. During my time at Skills USA, my partner Wyatt and I competed in additive manufacturing, which is a white-collar job. It's in the engineering field. what we do is we model in 3D software and we send it off to a 3D printer to be printed, and from there we build our products. This year we were able to build a car and that would carry a trailer with, so we were able to use electronics as well during this print. And then for the state competition, we made a rubber band car, so we were relying solely on the rubber band to power our car, but all of our parts had to be 3D printed. We had 8 hours to complete this project, and we also had to take a test based off of additive manufacturing, so that was our competition. At Doherty High School, I have taken all of Mr. Badeau's engineering classes, design engineering, principles of engineering, computer integrated manufacturing, and this year I'm actually honored to be working on my own personal project, which will be 3D printing and making, using electronics, a lightsaber of my own. So that's pretty exciting. So that's how it's kind of helped me learn. And so now I have that engineering background and I'm able to basically make anything I want with the 3D printing. Yes.
All right, let's go over who from FBLA wants to tell us about their trip. You want to go ahead? Introduce yourselves and tell us about your trip and how it relates to your learning every day, and tell us what school you go to.
Thank you. My name is Helena Lodge, and I currently go to Doherty High School. This year, me and my partner Sylvia, we were able to compete in broadcast journalism at Nationals this year, where we created a mock broadcast about a natural disaster. And this year, I'd really love to give a special thanks to our advisors who helped us whenever we had a mistake or we were feeling unsure of ourselves. They really helped guide us to be able to make it to the finals round in top 15. And back at school, I've been able to apply what I've learned here to all of my projects in school, my presentation skills, my learning and research skills, and most importantly, talking with people that I don't know, doing interviews with people who are strangers or someone who thinks differently from me has let me be able to excel so much more in my classes.
I'm going to start. Sophia had a few words too.
Oh, Sophie. Okay, great. I'll hand it back. Miss Mel Packham.
Thank you. Okay, so my event is just a little bit different than Evelyn's. My team is Sylvia and Finn. We placed 9th nationally. We do innovative technology design, so we designed our own product, which in this case we designed a 3D printed lamp that we did all of the electronics in ourselves, along with like the base and all of the CAD modeling. And so like by using these like skills, I have the ability to go out into the engineering field and like be able to apply that, which means a lot. And I want to become an engineer, and so like this year I'm also doing a senior capstone project with Mr. Badeau, and I'm making rock climbing holds for City Rock, and so to be able to apply my skills into the real world is like invaluable.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, we love to hear from our students, but we don't often get national level recognized teachers. So Miss Kelly, I'd love for you to sell to all these educators around El Paso County. How is it that District 11 has made investments that give these opportunities that's different than what you've seen in other schools?
Hi, everyone. Like Doc said, I'm Kelly Gauk. I've been teaching for 33 years, 22 in D11, and the moment I came to D11, I was just in awe with all the diversity that they had. And working at homes, we have so many dedicated teachers that make a difference in the lives of these students. And about 13, 14 years ago, FCCLA said, hey, we're going to open it up to middle school. And I said, I'm not going to lose my program. I'm going to build FCCLA. And over the 13 years I've been taking students to nationals, probably about 102 students can say, I'm a national qualifier. I got a gold or I got a silver in nationals. And to see these young people become so confident in their real successes, they're not fake. They have to do it in front of 3 judges, and I'm not there holding their hands. And I love coaching them because the ones that listen and the ones that ask questions and the ones that are daring go big. And I just want to thank D11, first of all, for all the support I've had. Annie Friesma and Dwayne Roberson, incredible leaders that help children, young adults, be ready for the career. And, you know, I'm getting closer to retirement. Everybody keeps asking me when I'm going. I said, I'm still having fun. Yes. And the last few years, I got a brand new classroom and all these nice little trips and awards. It's like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Anyway, I just tell you guys, keep striving, keep setting goals. Don't let people put you down because you're the leaders. And now I'm going to introduce to you one of my stars. Her name is Eliana Moore. Ellie was mine for 2 years and got first in the nation both years with 100%. 100%. If you've been around some of the schools and you see those yellow flashing lights in the school zones and the warning signals and pedestrian crosswalks and held signs and vests that I wear when I'm on crosswalk duty, it's all because of Ellie. Ellie did so much. She had a great partner, but Ellie did it. And I'm just so proud of her. And now she is Colorado FCCLA president as a sophomore.
Thank you, Ms. Skalk. My name is Eliana. I am the Colorado FCCLA State President, which means that I represent at the local, city, and statewide region of Colorado FCCLA. This year, I'm not actually competing in one of these star events, and instead of state president, I lead meetings, help build initiatives, and also collaborate with chapters all across the state. FCCLA stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. Like the other CTSOs, it aims to create projects and also be able to compete. And through this, specifically in FCCLA, we aim to build careers and also build family homes and love for FCCLA. My name is Eliana, and through this, as state officer, I am able to lead meetings. And on behalf of FCCLA and all the other CTSOs, I would just like to especially thank Mr. Gall, Mr. Roberson, the school board, and also our parents for being able to provide us the funds we need for national conferences, clubs, events, and just being able to have these clubs. It's truly a privilege. This year, as state officer, I am honored to lead our state and also run for national office this year. Thank you.
All right, one last big round of applause as everybody walks their way out. Thank you so much. You're out. We'll just get on. No, we're gonna. Sorry. No, sorry.
So congratulations to all the students, parents who brought the students here and supported the students of this journey, and also the staff members. Thank you for working with the students, amazing stories that they get to share. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, it's the spotlight. And today, Superintendent Gall is going to be sharing with the board and the community the academic actions and plans for this school year. Over to you, Superintendent Gall.
Thank you, Dr. Malpacum. It's just such a joy to have all those students. I feel terrible. I didn't realize there were more that wanted to speak, so I'll make sure I get their information, and we'll get them on social media to make sure that they can share their stories as well. Thank you to Dwayne and all of your team. I know that Annie was here, but there are so many other folks that represent that. There's just a small piece of that I'm not sure people really follow the way that works, is for years, Dwayne and his team have been finding unused funds to make opportunities like that happen. We've crossed a bridge now as a school district where we preload those funds. These are things that we budget for. We're budgeting for our children to compete at the national level instead of hoping that we can find the money and fall out in between. So I just want to get that public acknowledgement for the work that you helped build over years that now is really cornerstone to our budget. So it's great to be able to have that. Normally we do a school spotlight or a program spotlight. I found some great irony as we were ending last year that I introduced a new academic structure that is really one of a kind. I haven't seen other districts do it. And we got some head nods around a work session table. We talked about it for about 10 minutes, and then we talked about 90 minutes about capital improvements over the summer, which are critically important for our community and our schools. But I wanted to spend this time now as we start our school year for the board and for the community to see, feel, and hear how we're making instructional investments differently, one, than we've done in the past, two, more quickly and more succinct and focused response to the data and the area of needs that we still have to actually overcome the challenges that not just exist inside District 11, but that exist inside every school district in America. We think we're on to something here that's a little bit different than others have seen before. Can you advance the slide for me, Melissa? I only have a couple here. And the traditional model of how people have been doing this, and we used kind of anybody do a home project over the summertime where you pick up the color swatch at Home Depot and you say, well, I kind of like blues. Obviously, I like the color blue. But sometimes the color diffuses over time, or the number of levels that it has to touch before you can get there. That's kind of spreading your paint too thin. One more, go ahead, thank you. And this is the traditional way that schools go about trying to support student outcomes. We have a meeting, that would be my meeting, the bottom one, the K-12 meeting. And next layer, the area superintendents meet with the principals, who meet with the coaches, who meet with the teachers, who get to the students. In today's day and age, thanks to our curricular resources, our interim and our formative assessments, we have classroom level data of what happens for every student nearly every day in our system. And what we can no longer do is have that many layers in response to when we see that our students aren't getting access to the highest quality instruction, that we leave this idea to chance of, is this the year that you learn, or is this another year that you have lost learning? We are a district that are not unlike many other urban systems in America, where the challenges that exist in parts of our community are greater than this traditional system can overcome. Next slide. So we are trying to propose, or we're not proposing, we are implementing what we call direct-to-teacher supports. This is not outside of the relationship of the principal. This is not outside of what the coach does every day. This is not outside of RANDA and the two mandatory observation and feedbacks. This is in complement and in coherent alignment on the number one way to student achievement is access to high-quality instruction. I have never met a student who said, please give me an underqualified, unqualified, long-term sub, or change my staff member that I see 4 or 5 times over the year. And yet, not just District 11, in many classrooms in America, that is the best that we can do. There is no other profession in our world that allows for that gap of where we have centralized supports to be able to deliver on-site direct corrections to items happening in real time to ensure that students are the ones that get what they need. We are asking for partnership, we are asking for collaboration, we are asking for multiple infinite numbers of touch points for these things to be able to happen. And what we bring to the board tonight is examples of how we have already changed this system that I won't introduce, I will let them introduce and talk about how that work is being realized differently in our district. Okay. Over to the team.
Hello, my name is Charlie Ryder, and I'm the Director of Academics for the Southeast region in District 11. And I'm really excited to zoom in and share a bit more about one of the levers that Mr. Gall just shared about, and that is coaching. So our entire team is fully focused on the idea that we need to provide direct teacher support. And the way to do that is to provide really rigorous, deep, meaningful coaching cycles. And so the work of our teams for the past few weeks and for the rest of the year is very much centered on ensuring that we are guaranteeing the idea that everyone has a coach. And so I love this visual up here, the District 11 Guarantee for New Educators, because it actually is a flyer that Mr. Gall signed and gave to every single new teacher at New Teacher Orientation. And I also love that we can say, yes, we have made this come true. Every single new teacher in the district right now is engaged in a full cycle coaching session with either a school embedded coach or a district embedded coach. So the fact that we're able to make that statement with great confidence, I know personally I've been in many different school systems, and that's something that is really rare and extremely special. Because I know as a teacher I went for many years where more often than not I didn't have a coach, and I was never coached. I was maybe evaluated once a year, but that was about it. And so I'm excited that we're providing this not only to new teachers, but we also have a plan to make sure that all teachers get a coach and are making sure that those coaching cycles are rooted in what I see over there, improve student outcomes. Every single goal is tied to some sort of outcome or piece of data, And so, yeah, just very excited to share a little bit more about what our teams are really laser focused on right now, and thank you for the time.
And as we transition, when I hand wrote those notes, the most common name of our new staff members is a tie with 7 Rebeccas and 7 Olivias. And never would have thought that there would be 7 Olivias that come into a school system in the same year.
You know what? I forgot a quick transition to kind of illustrate what I was sharing about. We have a new District 11 teacher to kind of help illustrate what we have here. So, yeah. Welcome.
Hi there, my name is Jordan Lockett. I am a 5th grade teacher at Fremont Elementary. I'm an alternative licensing candidate. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I am new to the field, had never student taught before. But with our student embedded coach, with our school embedded coaching, with our district embedded coaching, with my principal's help, my assistant principal, I feel so supported. I genuinely thought that this was gonna be very overwhelming, and it was. But through their coaching, I can 100% say, because what we're really working towards is improving student outcomes. Already, through their coaching, I've seen marked improvement in each and every one of my students' potential. I'm able to really see the improvement that coaching actually makes for my students, and that's what's really important. I came in with an open mind, and because of that, my students are reaping the benefits of that. So I just want to thank District 11, my principal, my coach, and everyone else who has ever supported me in this journey. It has been very difficult, but it has been so rewarding because you guys make it so easy for me to succeed. So thank you. In any case,
And Jordan, what was your previous career?
I was in cybersecurity and information assurance, actually. And before that, I was in the military.
Awesome. What branch?
Army.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, anytime. Thank you. Well, in any case, I'd like to pass it off to Brent Urban. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jordan. My name is Brent Urban. I'm the embedded teacher coaching coordinator for secondary, and this is a new endeavor for us. And I want to start just by saying thank you to District 11, because I've taught high school for 25 years. This is year 26 in District 11, and I've never had a coach. And that changes this year. All of a sudden, we are now able to put support systems in place where we have coaching systems built in. The majority of our embedded teacher coaches are half-time teachers, half-time coaches. And so what I can report to you is right now, just in the month of August, those embedded teacher coaches have done over 125 mini coaching cycles with staff members in our secondary schools. That is a new start for us. And so I'm extremely thankful and grateful to be able to just report out that we are just starting the good work, but it's already changing the culture. I would love to tell you that all 125 of those mini cycles have been with brand new teachers. The high majority have. But here's an added benefit. We have veteran teachers who are coming to us going, can I do that? Can I get in on that? Because they know there's a new day and a new process happening in District 11, and I'm extremely thankful for it. I think the best way for me to show you that is to have you look at a few quotes from some of our teachers. 2 of them are new, and then 1 of them is a veteran teacher. I won't read them to you, but a couple things I just want to point out is these embedded teacher coaches literally teach right down the hall from them. So these coaches are there all the time. Their superior level of support, wisdom, encouragement, they're prepared, and they can immediately get support. We're not waiting until someone gets called in. And so this new model for us at the secondary level is absolutely reaping rewards. If I can go to the next slide, I do want to just focus in on one veteran teacher from Tesla said, I'm incredibly grateful to have Alicia both as my coach and my colleague. Her expertise, her guidance, unwavering support have been truly invaluable. It's a privilege to learn from someone who not only understands real challenges that arise in the classroom, but also take time to celebrate student success, big and small, because Alicia's right there, teaching next to her. So I just want to say thank you. I want to say the model we thought would work, and it is working. We have evidence that our new teachers feel supported right out of the gate.
Brent, can you just remind people of what your role had been and now the expansive that you're not just at a single high school anymore?
Absolutely. So I taught Spanish for 25 years at Coronado High School. And then I also started a nonprofit there 21 years ago, so I still teach. All of our embedded teacher coaches, including me, are still teaching. So I still teach leadership for nonprofits at Coronado, and then I oversee coaches at Doherty, Palmer, Coronado, Tesla, Bijou, and Odyssey. Awesome. Now, yeah. Okay. Let me bring Stephanie Leisure from North Middle School up. Thank you so much.
Good evening. How are you all? Good to see you. Okay, so I'd like to talk with you about agency. So over the past couple of years, we've had some schools who have had more significant instruction in instructional empowerment, or IE. Most of us have called it IE at this point, but it's really implementing student agency. So there's multiple levers of agency. However, what we're ultimately looking for is more student-directed and teacher-facilitated learning experiences. So if you've probably seen this graphic before. The far to the left would be that typical, perhaps maybe you've heard it as a sage on the stage, right? It's teacher-directed only. It's given to students. There's no student collaboration. In the middle is teacher-facilitated group work, where it's still students, they're telling the students exactly what they should do in their groups. But if you look far to the right, which you're not always going to see, it doesn't mean that an entire class will be this every single day at all times of the day, but the goal is for us to engage students in this type of learning more often than what they have been, especially, I would say, in the cores. So what you're seeing there is that we would have student-directed groups, and they're working with one another. The teacher is the facilitator in the middle, but that students are really doing the work on the outsides and having the teacher as that kind of go-to if they haven't been able to come to some sort of consensus within one another first. So that's the goal, to engage students more in that. And the reason I say cores is because, if you could go to the next slide, thank you, Ms. Olson. So it does lend itself, agency really lends itself easily to applied academics, I would say, as an IB school, or our electives or our specials. What you saw up here, the things that we engage, it really does work really well with those kind of tasks. However, we want to make sure that students are feeling that same ownership in their learning in our core classes as well. As examples up here, I have one of each. And actually I had a bunch of pictures, but evidently they would have been too small. So, of how we're already doing this at North. And I shared this with our families at our back to school night about how we really want to extend the agency experience to students, but we're also, like, it is not that big of a risk for us. Like, we are there and we are doing that. That left picture that you see up there is my sixth grade honors math students were doing an exercise in probability, and they had to create carnival games. So each carnival game had to represent some aspect of probability, and they had students visit, and elementary school students visit, to play their games, and then they had to explain what the aspect of probability was that they were illustrating. The middle picture there, that on the right, is what you guys have heard about before, our Meow Wolf inspired exhibit that we create on a yearly basis. They're about to go, our advanced design and drama students are about to go to Meow Wolf here in a week, and they will come back and be inspired in their own vision. I love that we have the ability to create a room that is inspired by their own vision. And so that was our room last year, and we have a ton of pictures, but I love that our students have the ability to do that. So we want to create that experience in our cores. And one strategic investment that District 11 made this past summer is that we took a really significant amount of teachers and leaders to an instructional empowerment conference in Orlando. And a couple of my teacher leaders that I need to be on board, because they do tend to perhaps live in that far left area where they are directing student learning consistently. I needed them to be on board. And so D11 gave us the ability to take those teachers and help them learn. They really appreciated about agency. They appreciated learning from people who facilitated them the way they should be facilitating students. They appreciated that modeling. They appreciated the collaboration from people not only in District 11, but national people. They appreciated the emphasis on student ownership, on authentic problem solving. And then one really extra thing that I think was very beneficial that they specifically spoke to me about was there was a lunch for all teachers with District 11 leadership, and all of these people here were split among all the groups, and they were able to ask questions of when we have Eureka, when we have Amplify, and it's pretty scripted, and you have to get to this, and you have to do this. How does agency fit? And they needed to hear that they were trusted to make mistakes and take risks and figure out what the balance is. And so they really did appreciate that from our District 11 leadership. My teachers came back very excited. They felt heard, that their concerns were heard, and they felt like they could take risks and still be supported. Okay, I'd like to hand it over to Ardita Bunch, a parent at Freedom.
Hello. I wrote a little speech, so I'm just
You
going
can
to read
pull
it.
the microphone up.
Is this, okay, here you go.
There you go.
Alrighty. Good evening, board members. My name is Ardita Bunch, and I am the proud parent of Amelia, a 5th grader, and Theodore, a 1st grader at Freedom Elementary. Amelia has been a student at Freedom since kindergarten, and this is her 6th year at this amazing school. I'm here because I want to share a quick story about what I've seen with student agency in the classroom and how it's making a difference for my children. When I visit, which is quite a bit, I noticed something very powerful. Students aren't just sitting and receiving information, they're actively leading their learning. They set goals, they check themselves and against success criteria, and they reflect. It's not just sit down and get it, it's think, try, and grow. I have an example from our child, Amelia. One moment that really stood out when I was there, and Amelia was working on her math-worthy tasks, instead of looking for the teacher to confirm her answers, she explained her reasoning to a partner, listened to another student and his solution, and said, I like how your way works, but mine also gets me the answer. I think we can do both right. That confidence in explaining her thinking while also honoring someone else's and students' agency is in action. Because of this focus, Amelia comes home more independent, confident, and motivated. And she sometimes gets her chores done. She says things like, I can figure this out, and if I try it another way instead of I just can't do it. That shift in mindset is huge, not just for academics, but for her future life. Thank you for supporting schools like Freedom and putting student agency at the center of academics. As a parent, I can't tell you enough how much this makes a difference for my children and, of course, all the other children at Freedom. That's it. Thank you. Michael, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. And I'm going to hand out to Hannah from Mitchell. Okay, thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Hannah Anderson. I am a teacher at Mitchell High School. I teach environmental science, astronomy, and I'm also the planetarium curator this year. Excited to step into that new role. I've been teaching for 3 years. This is my 3rd year overall and 3rd year at Mitchell. I am a diehard Marauder. Go Marauders. What I want to talk to you about today was that I had the opportunity to go to Florida to that IE conference, and I learned so much. It was a wonderful experience, and I'm starting to implement what I learned in my classroom. So, you know, we're in week 3 or 4, so we're still working through it, but I'm already seeing huge differences in my classroom. So some of these pictures you see right there are students working in really strongly cultivated and well-balanced teams. That's really key. And my coach, Phil Hutcherson, helped me figure out how to balance those teams through academics and leadership qualities, personality, things like that. Once I got those teams down, I give them complicated tasks. In this particular example, they're working through a free response prompt and coming up with how they would answer that prompt and structure an outline to answer that prompt. It's a complex problem, but they're working collaboratively to solve it on their individual whiteboards, given individual time to think, but then to share out together as a group. They're operating under teaming norms, which you see there's a poster in my classroom that gives those norms so that students are learning how to engage respectfully with each other even when they disagree. But most importantly is the results I am already seeing. Students are able to, in these well-balanced groups, leverage their strengths to help other students with their weaknesses, right, in their areas of growth, and vice versa. They're getting helps in their area of growth as well. So what I'm seeing is because they have the assistance that they want from their peers and that they crave, they are engaging in the learning in a way that I've never seen before. This learned helplessness that we're kind of used to seeing, unfortunately, as educators, Miss, I don't want to do this, like, this is too hard, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Instead, they are engaging in this productive level of struggle because they don't want to let their peers down and their teammates. They're more motivated to impress and help their peers than they have been to impress me. And I can admit that as an educator, that's okay. So what I'm seeing them is tackling increased levels of rigor in the classroom. What I'm able to put in front of students is on a higher level of rigor because they're willing to tackle it together. So what I've learned at IE has been phenomenal. I'm seeing kids implement social skills that they haven't before, especially my special needs students. I had a student today who struggles with social skills. He has autism. Really, finally, just stop asking me questions and ask his teammates some questions. And that was huge for him. Shout out to that student. That was amazing to see today. So the level of agency that we're giving our students, giving them a voice in their education, is increasing their level of engagement. I am so excited to continue this in my classroom. I really do believe that this is a model, it's a system, it's not any one structure, and IE is really giving me the freedom to figure out how these structures are gonna fit in my classroom. So thank you, and I wanna pass the mic off to my colleague, superstar teacher, best friend at work, fellow Marauder, Brookie Stander.
And Brookie.
So one thing about Ms. Anderson and I, we started at Mitchell at the same time. We went through the same new teacher orientation. We work across the hall from each other. It's been a learning progress journey for both of us. And it's fun for us to both buy into this and to see the changes as they are happening in real time. If you look at my slides for a second, very similar task here, slightly different though. I gave my students no background on the information that they were supposed to be working on. I gave them a prompt and I asked them to, based off of certain angles in a diagram that they had, to see if they could prove, not just show, but to prove that two lines were parallel based off of that. These students were initially slightly hesitant, but as you can see by some of their boards, multiple different ways of solving information, of showing information to work together to prove that these lines were parallel. And it's an interesting journey seeing the student outcomes. That's what you see up here. That's what you see in the classroom. I wanted to touch briefly, though, on the teacher aspect of this and why things like student engagement is important to the teachers and how we present to the students. So one thing that we have shifted between, Ms. Hannah and I, Ms. Anderson and I have brought this into the classrooms. We work with it at our schools. Currently, I'm new to the department chair, but I am currently serving as a department chair for mathematics here at Mitchell High School. And so we are bringing this to our entire team, is this idea of that we are planning intentionally to bring these interdependent tasks to the classroom and this rigor to the classroom. And as students are buying in more and more, we are seeing that we can increase the rigor higher than it's ever been. And it is an enjoyable process to see. I love the trifold, or that picture you showed, Mr. Gall, earlier of like it's teachers, it's students, and it's coaches. It's a team. It's a team all around. I can't bring this into my classroom without my coaches. My students don't get this without both of us. And more realistically, we're always here for the students. So if we're not planning for our students, if we're not planning intentionally, we're not bringing what we need to for our student engagement. So with IE, a concern I had when I was going to that conference is we're just going to be told how to teach in the classroom, and it's going to be just do this, just do this, just do this. Pleasantly surprised to find it is just teaching practices that we should be implementing anyway. Standard target task alignment, data analysis to plan for assessing and collaboration within the classroom. All those things that we can bring in to increase student engagement, student agency, and student learning. what I was afraid of is that I would lose my voice as a teacher, and I have found that through this process of teaching for the idea of student agency, I have a larger voice as a teacher than I have ever had before, and I love that, and it is great to see. So I'm going to leave you really quickly with this thought that, like, here, as we are working on student agency as a team in our school, we are elevating our teacher practices, which the best outcome from that is that we are going to elevate student outcomes. And we are seeing that in practice, and it's amazing, and we appreciate the opportunities to work for our students like this. So I'm going to hand it off to Hannah Shaw. There.
So we started with coaching, we covered agency, and now we're going to talk about curricular resources, and then we'll be done.
I'm Hannah Shaw. This is my 15th year in the district. All of them, 18th year of teaching kindergarten. I've been in education for 20 years now. I'm excited tonight to tell you about, sorry, my kindergartners totally gave me a bug, so my voice isn't usually this low. I'm excited to tell you about CKLA. Last year I had the chance to pilot CKLA in my classroom, and I was so encouraged by the growth that I got to see in my students. Part of my success over the past few years have been in my creation of different supplemental activities for my kids, because I always felt like they could do more and go deeper than like the typical 1 letter a week. Maybe by March we'll get to Z. They're just ready to go, and they want to learn, and they want to use the skills that they're doing. And I feel like sometimes people don't give kindergartners the credit for the things that they can do and the things that they can learn. So when I first heard about CKLA, I was a little bit hesitant, because people have joked that I'm allergic to curriculum, because I like the art of teaching. You know, I've got the science of teaching down, but I also like the art, and I was worried that that was going to take that away. But it didn't. CKLA is so strong in so many things, and it goes at such a faster pace that I found myself really jiving with it, because whereas usually we don't learn segmenting until January, February about in Wonders, now in September they're already starting to do those skills, and there's so much more groundwork for them to jump off of. I thought a really neat data point that I was telling Ms. Atmer about was that last year when we were doing, or 2 years ago when we were doing Wonders, about 72% of them were below or well below in the middle of the year. And you can see that the next year when we did CKLA, only 22% of them were at or below or well below. So I trusted the process, even though I was a little bit worried about CKLA, because I just like to know my standards, and I like to do it, and I like to have fun with the way that my kids learn. I trusted the process, and it was outstanding. My kiddos were starting to read words probably 3 to 4 months earlier than I saw in the past few years before Wonders. They had much more confidence, because the way that CKLA teaches it, they teach sound first. And that's such a strong basis for kindergartners, because then they can start sounding out words, and words aren't scary because they're not just memorizing them, but they actually understand what they are. So before Christmas, my kindergartners were already reading short phrases, comparing key vocabulary words, and confidently discussing their use. Because of this, I've become a very positive voice for CKLA in D11. I have lots of teachers that come into my classroom just to watch it, and their thoughts are always like, it's not that boring, like it's actually pretty fun. So I take pride in that, because I like to add group, and I like to add agency, and I try and find as many ways for my kindergartners to use their big voice, because they can do much more than sometimes we give them credit. So I'm very thankful for the board and everyone that approves CKLA, because it's meant a lot to my students and to my school. So thank you guys so much.
Do you remember the word that we were interchanging when we visited last year?
Well, dumpster was one of them.
Yeah, dumpster. Yeah, they love that one.
Garbage and trash, but yes.
Yeah, and you had gone from dangerous to hazardous.
Oh, right, yes.
Right. So in kindergarten at Midland Elementary School, children were describing the difference between dangerous, when they were thinking about recyclables and garbage and trash, and replacing it with hazardous.
Mm-hmm. And kindergarten is all about, like, that's a preschool word, now we use kindergarten words.
Yes,
and they're like, right. So that's the big deal. Thank you so much.
It's okay. Did a great job. Crystal Rasmussen, Chief of Curriculum. Good to see all of you. And so I think one of the things that I feel truly blessed looking in our classrooms and our schools is all of the resources that you've adopted. Very high quality, rigorous, grade level, and lots of assessment opportunities. And so as you can see, we have a lot of different things that are happening that are great. Two of the things I wanted to make sure and highlight is that this year we are making sure all of our course subjects have pacing guides with common summative assessments, and we're also adding common formative assessments. And that includes even the curriculum you adopted in the spring. So chemistry is already built out and being worked on, for example, and we're tweaking as we learn those resources. Another thing I wanted to point out is as we're continuing to look at not only usage, but what does that actually look like for student learning, and really wanting to make sure that we're intervening at appropriate times so that all of our students are successful. And so end of module assessments, those happen about every 6 to 8 weeks. You'll notice, for example, on the left, the CKLA assessment, we have one coming up on the 19th. And so our thinking is that last year, some people did paper and pencil, some people did online. This year, we're requiring everyone to do online assessments so that on the 19th, they take it, and on the 20th, we can pull that assessment results and know exactly where we're at, so we can intervene much faster, both with teachers and with students.
Awesome. And I think what I really want to end with here, and we'll open up for a couple of quick questions, is measuring what matters. I have been now, this is my 4th largest school district that I've been in a senior leadership level. I have sold curriculum to hundreds of districts across America. It is really not the curriculum, it is your ability to implement the strategies of which you commit to. Our cycles are tighter. We have data down to the classroom level. We've never had that data before. That gives us the ability to deploy this excellent set of team that is represented here. The hundreds, if not, will be in the thousands, if not tens of thousands of visits overall by the end of this year, which is, as you heard from Mr. Urban, not only new, but needed and desired. I really appreciated the comments that came from our educators. None of this is about trying to strangle the art of teaching. This is putting the science underneath such that the artist can flourish. The needs of our children, the gaps in our system, please come visit our schools and acknowledge that too many of our children do not get access to the highest quality of instruction. That is why the data continues to stagnate, not in District 11, but in most districts in America. We are on to something here that says we're turning that wedding cake upside down. The power of every person at central office exists solely for that student that was at the end of that paint scheme. That comes first and foremost through our teachers and our staff that spend the time with our students, but we think that we're on to something, and it's not, we're going to report to you what happens at mid-year. We are reporting, we open every data meeting, our executive cabinets and our Power of 11 meetings with data. We open every meeting with data for us to struggle with. And come join one of those meetings and you'll see it's a struggle. We get hot on each other, we get pointed, and we make sure that not a single student, not a single staff member, not a single principal is left ill-equipped to be able to deliver on your board priorities. I open the questions to the board.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate all of you being here and sharing some of the amazing work that is going on in our schools. Coaching, agency, and curriculum. Those are the 3 areas that we covered. Board, any comments or questions at this time? Director Jurgensen. Hang on a minute. Director Jurgensen.
Thank you. Yeah, you just mentioned those pieces, and all those are going to lead to the accountability in the system. As we had a retreat last week, there was not very many in the public there, which is fine. You're welcome either way. But I just mentioned, I've been on the board 6 years, and we're looking at academic data this month. It's not where we want it to be. It's not where we want our kids to be. And so, I mentioned I'm tired of us waiting for the conditions to be right to finally tackle academics. So we're drawing the line in the sand, sounds like. We've got all the supports you would ever need to be successful, and we're going to have the accountability in the system to take you where you need to go in D11, or you need to go to somewhere else, basically, it sounds like. So we've got to take care of our kids here. With the classroom level data, quick question is, will teachers learn of their specific results? Are they going to see where their SGP is at for their classroom so they can know, hey, I'm an 11-year teacher, but I actually do need some coaching here?
Yes. So I think this is one of the first years that we've been able to actually dig down to the classroom level, and so everyone will see it. Principals have seen it. We've already met with principals and shared some of that specific data. And then we're also planning our professional development and coaching around that already.
Okay, awesome. Hannah, 3rd year was my most fun year, so you just enjoy it. It's going to keep getting better, I promise you. And it looks like Jordan left because I was an alternative licensure teacher as well, and you really are I mean, sink or swim, baby. Like that's what that's what it is. So having coaches makes all the difference. So that my first year was rough, but that was good that we have these supports for them. That's all I got. Thank you very much. I'm eager to see the results here.
Thank you. Director Hafley.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see y'all. I'm especially grateful that D11 provides coaching for teachers. When I began in the classroom well over 30 years ago, this resource wasn't available. In fact, it was the exact opposite. If you asked for help, you were looked at funny, like, what are you doing in teaching? What do you mean you need help? What are you doing in teaching if you need help? And boy, you better not be asking it, because if you're asking for help, there's the door. That's how it was. And I'm grateful to see that that coin essentially has flipped, and that teachers now feel supported and that they have what they need and in order to be able to reach the kids that they're teaching. So teachers, I would encourage you to take full advantage of this. And you guys that are new to the profession, God bless you, and thank you for coming and jumping into the deep end of what is definitely probably the most difficult thing you'll ever do, but the most, somebody help me, I don't even have a word. It's just so fantastic.
Fulfilling?
It's such a noble calling, and I can't get over that these youngsters, I never thought I'd be the age where I would be saying these youngsters. You guys that are new to the profession, you guys that are well younger than I am, that you've made this decision to jump in, and it's difficult. It's difficult at any level. I was a high school teacher for 30 years, and when people would ask me, what do you do for a living? And I'd tell them I'm a high school teacher, it was always, oh, I'm sorry. What are you sorry about? I'm having the time of my life in this. Being on the board, though, I get to go to different schools and different levels, and I see the middle schools now, and I see the elementary schools, and I think to myself when people say, what did you do for a living? And I tell them I was a high school teacher. Oh, again, I'm really sorry. No, you don't have any idea. My job was so much easier than elementary school teachers and middle school teachers. I mean, I'm in those schools for a portion of the day, sometimes a small portion of the day, and I'm exhausted when I leave. And so the fact that y'all are coming in and giving it everything you've got from the very beginning of the school day to the very end of the school day, so grateful for you and your expertise and what you bring to the kids of this district. And the fact that D11 provides an opportunity to enrich that teaching experience for you, and that there's not a finger pointing at you when you do ask for help. I'm particularly grateful to see that, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions at this time? Okay, I don't see anything else, so thank you. What I gathered from this is the amazing work that is happening in our schools. Some of the information that was shared by the teachers is they were reluctant to first adopt this new way of teaching, or CKLA, or the instructional empowerment. There were always questions at this time, but once you buy into what we have out there collectively as the school district, you can see amazing results, and you can see the difference that you make in the day-to-day learning that happens in the classroom for our students. So like what Superintendent Gall was talking about, it's not sometimes the curriculum, it's implementing that curriculum with fidelity that ensures that the students are achieving what they need to achieve. So I'm glad to see all the coaching that is happening. We have 200 plus new teachers, and the guarantee that Superintendent Gall signed in each one of those was to that teacher to get that personal coaching that is happening. And from what Charlie was sharing with that, we have this embedded coach that is going to provide that type of support for every one of our teachers. So thank you for the work that is happening. Superintendent Gall, do you want to close this?
Yeah, I'll bring us home and go straight into the superintendent's report. I ask and I challenge the board when you visit our schools, please let our academic directors as well as your area superintendents know you're coming, so you get to meet these incredible folks and see the work that they're doing, and they'll give you the behind the scenes view of, hey, this is what's working really well, here's where we still have challenges. We know that the need of the system is greater than we can scale in just 1 year. But we're going first and foremost after the places where we've seen that the data has had the most challenge in moving, and with the people that are new to the system, and then thirdly, the people who raise their hand that says, please come in and help me increase my quality to ensure that every student gets access to the highest quality instruction. So please, as our structure is always dynamic and changing, on your way into a school visit, if you reach out to myself or to Shauna and let us know, or even to Melissa, we'll make sure that we let our requisite team know that you're going to be there. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you to the team. Great brief. Okay, I said an hour, and I'm at an hour and 2 minutes, but we started 3 minutes late, so I'm at 59 minutes, so I'm going to go through 4 slides pretty quickly, except Leilani does get 1 slide, so she gets an extra minute by herself. I wanted to start, CMAS is out. We have some celebrations. I'll start with the rougher news first, which is our overall growth is flat. You'll see that at the bottom. We increased just the smallest amount in our achievement in both math and ELA, and the number of our schools that slipped is of concern. I've met over this last 2 weeks with each one of those principals, and every one of them to a T that has had a challenging year on data has said to me, I knew I had a problem in that class or that grade or that subject matter, and I didn't move fast enough to deploy the resources that we just showed you right now to make sure that we could make those changes. But there is really great news for us to share. First and foremost, I don't know how many years it's been, but I couldn't be prouder to say that the highest achieving school in all of El Paso County is a District 11 school. Thank you to the Gazette-Telegraph for reporting the work of Chipeta. All of the educators, all of the students, all the family members, anybody who's ever had anything to do with Chipeta over the last 10 years plus gets a pat on the back for over 75% of our students meeting or exceeding state expectations in math and ELA. That is not a number I think that I thought we would be reporting this quickly, even for the strength of schools like Chipeta. It is with tremendous agency and focus that Chipeta has been able to get to the top. We have promised an ice cream party to that community. I just don't remember what the actual date is. I think it's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We went up the day that was announced and gave a slice of ice cream cake to each one of the teachers as symbolic for what we'll celebrate for our students. But it is with great pride to say that District 11 has risen to the top, and we will bring the rest of the district there. Galileo, Adams, and Mitchell, which has been our primary focus area for the last year, all showed growth on their SPF. Mitchell moved from turnaround to priority improvement with almost 5 points on their SPF. Galileo had 5 points that rose them from priority improvement to improvement. And Adams, although a marginal SPF increase, grew the head of the students that were meeting or achieving in math and ELA by 5 percentage points again as well. It is with great pride that we bring those strategies to bear. Do not be confused. This is the direction of this school district. If you do not believe in the way we are going, please come to me. We will find you the right places for you to go work. We believe in agency. We believe in CKLA. We believe in Eureka Squared. We believe that teachers can actually make each one of those interactions better, and I appreciate both our educators from Mitchell for sharing that. We are not trying to strangulate the system. Our job is to resource the system so it can overwhelm opportunities for students. Okay, Leilani, you want to come forward and talk about the D11 Promise a little bit?
Yes, thank you all. Yep. My name is Leilani Mullins. I am one of the Career and College Access Coordinators, and I'm excited to talk to you about Promise. We have some really exciting growth that has happened this year for the fall of 2025 cohort. We are looking at 315 total District 11 students with a 242 student persistence, which leads us at about 75% persistence rate, which is significantly higher than the college overall. Which is extremely exciting, knowing that we are going into our 3rd year of the Promise. We know that more and more students, we continue to encourage almost all of our seniors to apply to Pikes Peak. We know that we had 654 applications to Pikes Peak last year, with 192 enrolling specifically in the Promise. So really exciting work there. In addition to the Promise being a tuition assistance program, the piece that goes towards that persistence is each and every student gets individualized coaching and holistic support. So they meet with their Promise coaches at the college, they attend workshops, they are in the community of Pikes Peak, taking advantage of opportunities and really being leaders. On the D11 side, we have some new things, new collaboration happening this year. We're really excited to have Promise people from Pikes Peak coming into our future centers once a month, where they will help our seniors through the cadence that is the college access process, all the way from applications to FAFSA to registering for the fall, and just making sure that each student that's eligible is prepared to access Promise if that's where they decide to go after their senior year. The other piece that I think is really excited is we've committed to a greater data sharing with Pikes Peak so that we can, at a glance, immediately see our students who are eligible and interested, so that not only our Pikes Peak folks know that our kiddos are coming in the fall, but we also can work with them in September to get their processes started. Students will be able to also see their data of their eligibility early, and so they can actually start to say, hey, I'm advocating for this spot for myself, and I'm gonna take the steps needed, and I'm going to show up when the Promise coaches come to the Future Center so that I can get that targeted support. In general, we know that as we continue to partner with Pikes Peak, the growth of our work in the Future Centers, and then new this year with our Future Ready advisory in all high schools, we expect to see this number continue to grow, and we know more and more students are interested in taking advantage of this amazing program because there's more access at Pikes Peak in the things that they're interested in. So it's just creating those interest points, targeting, making sure they know it's available, and then getting them well on their way to the path. With that, I have last year's flyers, if you would like to see them. We're gonna print new, so I figured I would hand them out.
Melissa will send them over. Thanks, Leilani, and thanks to Mr. Holliday, Mr. Burney, and to the MLO Oversight Committee, of course to the board as well, for giving us that vote for us to continue. We have funds to go well into the future and look forward to bringing alternative sustainable options to the board in the foreseeable future. Thanks, Leilani. Okay, I'm gonna end with our next peak experience. Please join us downtown for First Start Friday. On October 3rd, our students will be setting up on October 2nd. All 8th graders are going to have a chalk festival in Chalktober. We're going to take over downtown. We are partnered with the Downtown Business Bureau and our city to make sure that our kids are safe, secure, and they'll be answering a basic prompt of, what does liberty mean to you? If you've never been to a chalk festival, look them up online. And if you're not a fan of our downtown, just think about how amazing our downtown is going to look when it's overcome and overtaken by our students sharing what learning means to them in the heart of our city. So super excited for all of our team that's put this together. To bring a peak experience to bear in October, that was just an idea in August, tells you again what incredible work our team is capable of doing. Super excited for that. And so when it snows all February and March, it's because I am trading myself to Mother Nature to please let it be dry on October 2nd and 3rd and moderate in temperature. That concludes my superintendent's report.
As long as we have snow days in February.
That's right.
and March. Thank you. Thank you for sharing some of the growth that's happening with the D11 Promise as well. Board, any thoughts or comments on the superintendent's report? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Olson, do we have any public comments? Two of them? Okay. Okay, thank you. We have two public comments going over the board protocol for public comments. As a reminder, the board welcomes and is very interested in listening to community feedback as it helps us better do our job. Please approach the podium when your name is called and you have 3 minutes to deliver your remarks. Please monitor the clock that is on display and complete your comments in that allotted time. Board meetings are primarily business meetings for orderly and efficient conduct of the business of the district. Keeping that in mind, the clear expectation is that your feedback is provided in a civil, professional, and courteous manner without resorting to disparaging or defamatory remarks. Students are often in attendance or watching our broadcasts. Speakers' remarks, therefore, should be suitable for an audience that includes minor students, including no use of profanities or obscenities. To adhere to the board policy and accomplish the work already on the agenda, the board will not respond to comments during this time, but I can assure you that your comments will be taken into consideration. And to maintain the flow of the meeting and not have prolonged interruptions, please refrain from clapping. If you want to show support to a speaker, please stand as the speaker is talking or use a silent applause. Lastly, the statements made by the public do not reflect the views of the board or the district. With that, the first comment is by Ms. Sharon Simpson-Dagon.
Good evening, Mr. Gall, Dr. Malpaca, and members of the board. Excuse my voice, it's a little bit weary. Oh, yes, thank you. As a half-century-long resident of the district, an alumna, and a D11 retiree, I appreciate the time to speak and your attention. I tell you, walking into the building, it was just amazing to smell the beautiful aromas from the flowers, and then to know that the entree into this meeting was about collaboration. I loved it. And I'm so sorry that you had negative experiences thinking.
I'm sorry, I should probably say, it wasn't my experience. I saw it happen.
You saw it
did not
happen.
happen to me, but.
O-
yeah.
Okay, because I was like, that's a whole different experience than I had. Yes, and I think that, yes, having access to high-quality instruction is important, and at the base of that is what? Feeling secure, feeling safe, not just as a student to experiment, but as a teacher to experiment and spread the wings and just encourage the students to be the very best that they can be. We have all seen and heard collaboration that wasn't true collaboration, but was instead a well-orchestrated directive to do things in this way. And, you know, people who like their jobs, they do that. They follow what is needed. But hopefully, my hope for this district is that every individual on the staff, from central ad on down, feel completely empowered and safe to express themselves. Last year and the year before, people in CSEA really wanted to work collaboratively with you, and they didn't get that. We heard from one member of the board in particular that nope, we cannot support an outside organization, a private organization. Yet PACE is being supported, and that is unfortunate. CSEA still exists, and CSEA still wants to collaborate with you. I hope that you will engage them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Autumn Reel. Autumn Reel. Thank you.
All right, my name's Autumn Reel. I'm a recent graduate of Widefield High School, and I'm going to all of the school districts in Colorado Springs to talk about reproductive health. We are actively abandoning the system that grows scholars, not off of trees, but the determination to succeed, not off of the soil we track dirt on, but the collective experiences from hundreds of people who yearn to seek a difference. Furthermore, our education is the foundation in which our society functions and grows, which is why through the abandonment of teaching our youth something as crucial as their reproductive and sexual health, we deprive them of the right resources and confidence about their bodies. According to Colorado state law, it is not required for schools to provide sex or HIV instruction. However, it is referred to as a right of youth. To strengthen that point, it is a right of young people to have access of information about one's body. Yet the schooling system still neglects to teach it to them. This is also considering the complexities of feminine care. 74% of female students still have remaining questions about their periods. This great majority of women left wondering about their own reproductive health is the direct cause of suffering for thousands due to the schooling system's disregard of its importance. As we continue to walk around eggshells regarding the topic of menstruation, nothing productive is done for the 55% of women who still feel embarrassed about the topic to this day. This is especially considering it's a normal way of life for over half our population. It is due to the lack of requirement to include sexual health in Colorado that generation after generation becomes less and less aware of what's going on in their own bodies. It is time that we make a change for the curriculum. As time passes on, the continuation of repeating cycles is no help to the advanced generation that is to come. We are single-handedly raising stronger doctors, service workers, and activists without giving another thought of what they take out of their own education. First, we need to examine the significance of biology and sex ed in our classrooms today. What topics are being discussed now, and how are they making an impact? Major topics such as abortion, same-sex relationships, irregular periods, and pregnancy have profoundly affected our modern society, yet aren't discussed in the classroom today. Second, in the act to promote these teachings, we need to branch the spectrum of male and female sex as topics that are generally taught to everybody. By polarizing these topics to those who don't experience them, we can't effectively understand what one another is going through without feeling shame or guilt. As a strong advocate for both women's health and our education system, it is a need to voice these issues with you all today. We have barely scratched the surface of what health looks like for a community who isn't afraid to guide young people out of the dark. After all, it is the right of youth to learn about the complexities of health. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's the end of public comments. I appreciate all the community members that came and shared their feedback with the board. We will certainly take that into consideration as we proceed with our work today and into the future. Board member reports, the next topic. Board member reports. Board, I'm going to turn to you and see if there are any board members that want to share. And Dr. Bankus, you are first.
I just want to follow up on the accolades that we had given to the young lady that was here on making sure that our schools had school zone markings, lights, and reduced speed limits. Driving by Doherty High School today, I saw that in action. Somebody was getting a ticket on my way out of the neighborhood. Somebody was getting a ticket on the way into the neighborhood. So we know that CSPD is behind this effort. And thank you all for driving the speed limit and keeping our children safe.
Thank you. I was at Doherty this morning, and I wish there were cops out there handing out tickets because there were some commuters that were traveling at a high rate of speed down that road. Director Ott.
Thank you. First, a thank you to the staff who was here today to talk about the highlighted programs, and also everyone who has welcomed me, and I'm guessing all of us, into the open house opportunities and all of the back-to-school events that are also happening. So I have two quick announcements. One is that the Foundation for School District 11 is offering Inspiring Creativity Educator Grants for teachers in District 11. It's to bring innovative projects into their school and classrooms in particular to enrich and enhance educational experiences for students. The grants are small, $100 to a maximum of $300, and they might be considering larger grants as well. Applications are taken continuously with grants awarded quarterly, so there's no wrong time to make a request. And you can find more information under the Grants tab on their website, foundationford11.com. The other opportunity that might be of interest is Saturday, September 20th, Dave Edwards, the author of Gender Inclusive Schools, will speak about the ways we as a community can make our schools more inclusive and safer for gender diverse students. You can find more information on that on the event page at pflagcoloradosprings.org. And that is all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Ott. I don't see any other board member reports at this time. Ms. Olson, if you can just pull up my report. I just want to quickly follow up on what Superintendent Gall has already shared with the community out there. CMAS test results are out, and the board will be deep diving into that data over the next 3-4 weeks, including some of the positive accomplishments and areas of concern that we are going to be talking about. As Superintendent Gall shared, we have a strategy in place. This is not the time to rework and question our strategies that are in place. It is a time for buy-in so that what was accomplished at Chipeta, that's amazing results. When you are talking about a school, as a school district, we are struggling to have 30% of our students at grade level reading and 35% of our students at math, somewhere roughly around that numbers. And that school has doubled the number of students at grade level proficiency, both in English and math, and the highest performing school in that capacity in El Paso County. So kudos to the teachers and staff out there, and also the parents. The community parent engagement is critical. Whenever you look at schools that have high student achievement, not just student growth, but achievement as well, parents are a critical component. So I strongly encourage parents in all our schools to be engaged in the education of our children. We are striving to replicate what's happening at Chipeta and all our other schools as well. So we look, this was the celebration that Superintendent Gall was talking about. It's my understanding that teachers got to celebrate with that slice of ice cream cake, and we look forward to celebrating with that community as well. If you can move on to the next slide, there are several back-to-school open houses that I got to attend. The first couple of pictures that are on the left side, this is the teacher supplies event that we had at the beginning of the school year. And you can see the bottom left picture, teachers lining up half hour, 45 minutes in advance. There was a long line of teachers that were lining up out there and taking advantage of all the free supplies that they were able to get at the beginning of the school year. So huge shout out to Ms. Carol Fry and her team in putting this together. And this is going to be a constant something that is going to continue in our school district through the year. From the feedback that we get from our teachers, this has been well appreciated. To the right, I got to visit McAuliffe Elementary at their open house, and their principal showed me their new STEM door. And this is, if you have an opportunity as a McAuliffe parent or board members, you got to go and take a look at this wall. This is a learning opportunity for our students. Teachers use this new STEM wall. It used to be an open space. It used to walk into that Learning Commons library area out there, but teachers use that to teach students about measurements, conversion units, shapes, colors, so many interesting things out there, just to create a way, and that happened just over the summer. And a lot of summer projects going on. One of that is the artwork that you see at Columbia Elementary, the mural there to reflect the art pathway school that Columbia is. And I want to give a shout out to Ms. Lawson at Carver Elementary. I was in her classroom, and she is one of our student teachers who student taught in our schools and now is a first-year teacher in our school district at Carver and getting the embedded coaching that was discussed earlier. It was amazing to walk into the classroom and see the engagement in her first grade classroom. And moving on to the next slide. Yeah, and click one more time. I want to share with the community and the board as well this event that we are going to be doing through the course of this year, which is called Petals of Appreciation. This kicked off yesterday at Stratton Elementary, and these are some of the pictures that I got from our amazing community engagement team. And this is our way to show a small way in the board and Superintendent Gall thanking our teachers for our amazing work. Last year it was the coffee bar, and this year we are going to be visiting every school over the next 5, 6, 7 months, and teachers and staff at that school get to make their own petals and bouquet of appreciation. And Ms. Maisie in the special education department got a shout out as one of the teachers that stood out there. So thank you for bringing that program up here, and we look forward to visiting your schools and sharing some of our sharing some of your success stories with us as well, and getting an opportunity to engage with you. That's my board member report. Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, we do have a brief legislative report. I was talking to our legislative lobbyist, Ms. Amy Atwood, and she talked about the special session that took place, I think, last week at the state legislature. And Ms. Atwood is going to be joining us at this time to give us an update on what transpired at that special session, and if there is anything from the board level that we got to be keeping our focus on. Ms. Atwood, thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Amy Atwood, contract lobbyist for the district. Tonight, I want to provide an update on the special session that finished last week, as well as the governor's budget cuts that were announced last week. The good news is there are no cuts to K-12 during the special session. K-12 was protected and held harmless throughout the special session. There is one bill that does impact K-12, and that changed the allowable uses for the Healthy School Meals for All program. So if you remember, there was a bill passed 2 or 3 years ago that set up that program. Then earlier this year in the regular session, a bill passed that does two things. It'll be a ballot measure this fall, Proposition MM. And what MM will do is it allows the state to keep the excess revenue above what the projections were in the Blue Book. So that's one thing it does. The second is it changes the formula for collecting the revenue. So with the formula change, it will increase revenue that goes into the Healthy School Meals for All program. And then the third thing that changed, which happened during special session, was any excess in the fund once Healthy Meals for All program, once that is fully funded, if there is any excess, it can be spent on SNAP and to backfill SNAP. And that is from HR 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill. And so with the decrease in SNAP to the state coming from the feds, with this added allowable expenditure from the fund to SNAP, they're hoping that there may be excess that it can be used for SNAP. So that's what happened during special session. Then last week on Thursday, the governor came forward with his budget cuts. So during special session, the governor was given authority through legislation to make cuts. And he does not have to get legislative permission to do so. He can do it. He just needs to present his ideas to the Joint Budget Committee. The Joint Budget Committee does not tell him yes or no, up or down, if they support those cuts or not. He just has to tell the Joint Budget Committee what those cuts will be. So he did that on Thursday. And again, K-12 education was held harmless. No cuts coming from the governor. It was surprising that there were no cuts because every other big department, say higher ed, Medicaid, healthcare, they all saw cuts, major cuts, but K-12 was held harmless with the governor as well. So with the information that we have now coming out of special session, we know the budget gap that we will have to fulfill in the 26-27 budget. So your 25-26 budget, your current budget right now, is not going to change. You will continue to get the same amount that you planned on from the state. For 26-27, we knew that there was going to be less revenue. Again, I had talked about that all last year and this year. The dynamic is a little different now because of HR 1. They're trying to determine how much more the state will be in the hole. I am working with other education stakeholders, K-12 stakeholders, as well as the governor's office, looking at how do we protect K-12? What are some other places that can be looked at, particularly so that we protect the rollout of the new school finance formula. That is what is most impactful to D11, and to keep that on the trajectory that it has had. If there are discussions about declining enrollment and moving that from 4 years to 2 years, that won't impact D11. So what will impact D11 is if they put a pause on the rollout of the new formula. So I have my finger on the pulse on that. I'm right there in those conversations to make sure that I'm looking out for the district, and then on the more broader scale, the K-12 community. So with that, are there any questions?
Board, thank you. Thank you for providing that update at this point in time. Board, any questions to Ms. Atwood at this time? Dr. Jurgensen.
Yeah, just a few, Ms. Atwood. Where do I start? So it sounds like HR 1 was going to bring accountability to the SNAP program and have able-bodied people working, but the state's trying to just backfill in the current status quo.
I would say that the state is looking at ways to fill the hole from HR 1 for SNAP.
Okay, read between the lines on that one. You mentioned Prop MM, that's coming to the ballot in November. Is this just a tactic to keep our Tabor money?
You know, I don't know that I can answer that question.
It is a way to increase taxes, though, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So, along with the House Bill 25B 1001, keeping those tax cuts on small businesses, I mean, I'm a small business owner, and my wife is as well. That 4% fee that we have to pay to collect payments and invoices through credit cards, that adds up. And I don't understand why we didn't see more significant cuts from the legislature, and they pass the buck to the governor, and they continue to tax small businesses and folks that are trying to survive and employ people in our state. It goes beyond D11. I'm so thankful that K-12 education is protected. But it is harder and harder to live here in this state when we are not going to open our eyes to the fact that we've got to stop spending some money and stop killing oil and gas and allow businesses to thrive and to use our natural resources. And I'm on a little bit of a soapbox here, I apologize, but as a business owner, it's hard to want to keep doing business here when they come with these laws, and then to hear that we're still going to be in a deficit when we come back to the next legislative session. They didn't fix anything. They still have a mess to clean up when they come back together. So I'll digress, but this was a horrible special session for taxpayers and business owners.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions at this time from the board? I don't see anything else. Thank you for the update, especially pertaining to K-12 education and how it impacts us. As always, keep engaged with us and let us know that if there is anything that you need to present to the board. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atwood, and I truly appreciate, because I called you. I think she's still there. I called you earlier on Monday to add you to the agenda at the last minute. I appreciate your willingness to join us in the last minute. Thank you. Adoption of consent items. Director Art, can you please make the motion to adopt the consent items?
Yes. I move that the Board of Education adopts all consent items as designated in the agenda. The consent items are personnel recommendations, September 3rd, 2025, Resolution 2026-3, authorized district staff legislative liaisons, and Resolution 2026-6, Hispanic Heritage Month.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please, Ms. Olson.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The consent items have been adopted as presented. Moving on to the action items on the agenda. The first is a resolution of appreciation for Ms. Lauren Nelson. Just providing some brief context, and then I'm going to turn it over to Director Jorgensen, who's going to read the resolution. As we mentioned at the August board meeting, Director Nelson informed the board and Superintendent Gall of her intent to resign from her position as a District 11 board member. The board formally accepted her resignation at the August board meeting. Today, we have an opportunity to thank Director Nelson for her service on the District 11 school board. So, Director Jorgensen, can you please read the resolution and make the motion for action item H1?
It would be my pleasure. Resolution 2026-07, appreciation of Lauren Nelson. Whereas for nearly 4 years, Lauren Nelson has ably served the Board of Education of School District 11, devoting boundless hours and selfless volunteer service for the betterment of District 11. Whereas her service has been marked by principled boldness, integrity, loyalty, devotion to duty, and a fiscally prudent approach to decision-making. Whereas Lauren Nelson has brought forth courageous ideas and suggestions for accountability and leadership, making a sincere difference on behalf of the staff, students, and specifically emboldening parents and their involvement in the education of their students. And whereas Lauren Nelson has been deeply passionate about moving the district forward, goal-focused on outcomes for kids, and a consistent and strong voice on the Board of Education for promoting and focusing on the district's excellent offerings and commitment to student achievement. And whereas Lauren Nelson has been dedicated to the success of all children throughout the district, now therefore be it resolved that the Colorado Springs School District 11 Board of Education expresses its appreciation to Lauren Nelson for her years of service on the Board of Education, for her strong support for the schools of our community, and for her untiring efforts in promoting a better education for all students. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be included in the minutes of this meeting and made a part of the permanent records of the Colorado Springs School District 11. I move that the Board of Education endorses Resolution 2026-07, Resolution of Appreciation for Lauren Nelson.
Second. Okay, moved and seconded. I don't know if you got who seconded because there was multiple voices I heard out there. Ms. Olson has also got a video that she wants to play at this time. And after the video plays, I will turn to the board for comments.
I, Lauren Nelson,
I, Lauren Phoenix Nelson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will well and faithfully perform
that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of School District Director
the duties of School District Director
of Colorado Springs
of Colorado Springs
School District 11.
School District 11.
I am a graduate of Palmer myself, and if you told me 20 years ago that when I sat where you are today, that I would be up here presenting a speech, I would never have believed you. This is an incredible honor. I enjoy volunteering on your District 11 school board, and I'm grateful for the series of choices that have led me here today. I have to do it. Palmer! Try again, guys. Palmer! Thank you.
I was speaking with a friend earlier. She was asking, do I look forward to the board meetings? And honestly, I said, I don't know if that's the word I would use. But as I sat here and the McCullough students walked us through the pledge and the little straw ball thing, which I'm keeping, I'm gonna show my kids later. And then just them coming and speaking about their teachers, I have to say my heart just filled with so much joy, and I feel so blessed by these kids. On behalf of the District 11 Board of Education, I am pleased to accept the class of 2025 for the conferring of the diplomas. You graduated!
So thank you. Appreciate the media department putting that. Video together. Board members, I'm going to open it up for, just give me a minute here. There you go. I'm going to open it up for your comments. Dr. Hafley.
I'm going to look right at you. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate you. You have, I didn't know you from Adam. What is this, 2025? 4 years ago. I had no idea. And yet you have brought an energy to the district that is undeniable. I appreciate your collegiality and your friendship and your unwavering dedication to this district and to the kids and to the parents and the taxpayers, and I could go on and on. And I wish you the best in the new chapter in your life. And I'm going to underscore again, I appreciate your friendship. And I'll talk to you later. How's that? I'll finish it later, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Bankus.
I have to lean over because the flowers are kind of there. We came on the board together. We didn't know anything, and we really worked hard. And I want to thank you for your diligence as the treasurer. I did step into that role with big shoes to fill, and I will try to do my best, but I'm sure that all that you accomplished as our treasurer, and when you came to the board to give your analysis of decisions that we were being asked to make. I always trusted that you had done the homework, that you were competent in the research that you had done, and that your advice was really good. Because as you've heard, your heart is always with the kids, as I think it is with all of us. So thank you, and I've enjoyed serving on the board with you.
Thank you. Director Carey.
It was an honor to serve with you for 2 years, and I feel like I have learned so much from you, and I am going to miss you over the next 2 years. Stay in touch.
Director Ott.
Thank you, Director Nelson, and now County Commissioner Nelson. Yes, thank you for your services. I'll echo what others have said and your collegiality. And I will miss your interest here on the things we shared, especially things like importance of food, healthy food for our kiddos. Thank you.
Director Jorgensen.
I wrote your resolution.
So that speaks.
So this was my words to you. I appreciated your no BS approach to finance, to policy revision, and to questioning why we keep doing things the way we do when we're not getting what we want to get for kids. So I so appreciate you, and like Director Hafley, I will talk to you later.
Okay, and I'll come to you, Superintendent Gall, in a minute. Thank you, Director Nelson, for your years of service on the school board. When you stepped in and you stepped into the role of treasurer, I was the previous treasurer at that time. You seamlessly stepped into that role, and the amount of information that you were able to process, sometimes it's drinking through a fire hose, but you did that seamlessly well. And the focus that you put on students and making sure that resources come closest to the students in the classroom, your legacy will live on over the next several years. Thank you for your time on the school board, your service on the school board, and I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Superintendent Gall.
Director Nelson, now County Commissioner Nelson, it was with a lot of sadness. I want to thank you for your courage to trust in myself and Dr. Comfort's vision on the budget. You have single-handedly changed the way school districts will budget in the state of Colorado forevermore. Our legislative liaison was on there earlier. We are now the district that other districts are looking to of how do you get dollars closest to the classroom? How do you manage the structural deficiencies that are built into a constantly underfunded critical part of our infrastructure? Your courage and your ability to stand up here and defend the new ideas have helped us turn this district around literally overnight. It is my great hope and my great honor to know that you will now do that in a larger role, to continue to insist that we have to stop accepting the status quo, not just in our school district 11, but in our great city of Colorado Springs and our great county of El Paso County. You're a natural born leader. That comes from you being a D11 graduate. So Palmer, there we go, terrors in return. Thank you for that.
So thank you. Before I call roll call, okay, let me do the roll call first, and I do have some closing thoughts that I need to read out here. Roll call, please, Ms. Olson. On the resolution, which was read by Director Jorgensen and seconded by, I don't know who.
Everybody.
Multiple people. Okay, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
You bet aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. So the resolution that was read by Director Jorgensen was approved by the board. As a token of appreciation for Mrs. Nelson's dedication, hard work, and support of our student, staff, and the District 11 community, we have a few gifts to present this evening. The first is a traditional school bell. And the school bell is given to each board member that served on the school board, and may it serve as a lasting reminder of your years of service and the countless way you helped ring in the opportunities for our students. And I'll finish it, and then we can. The second, there is a watercolor painting entitled "The Music of Nature," and this was created by Emma Lee an 8th grade student at Holmes Middle School under the guidance of her art teacher, Jennifer Peterson. And this piece reflects the creativity and talent of the students you have championed throughout your time at the board. And Ms. Olson is showing the picture to the board and the audience. And finally, we are honored to present you with your framed D11 picture. And Ms. Olson is also showing that, including the district coins, a tradition established under Superintendent Gall's leadership. Okay, these coins represent the values, history, and unity of District 11 and are a symbol of our gratitude for your service. Ms. Olson, Ms. Nelson, to get your...
You gotta come up, we gotta do pictures. Everybody down.
Vote.
Yeah, somebody hold the flowers.
Hold the bell, ring the bell.
I just turned it on.
Oh, you want that?
Yeah, this is fine. I'll be brief. I just wanted to say thank you. I was not expecting this whatsoever, and so it's so touching. I feel really overwhelmed. So I'm grateful that you had all these kind words and these tokens of things that I will cherish, and I look forward to seeing the great things continue in District 11, and I know I've left it in really good hands, and it has been such a blessing to serve alongside each of you. It was such a very pleasant surprise, the relationships that have been built. So thank you, and thank you for your continued service. I look forward to serving with you in the future, and as we all play our part in our community. Thanks.
Thank you.
At least take the flowers.
Yeah, we can make sure that Mrs. Nelson gets those items at a later point in time, but you may want to take the flowers with you. And you got your Wednesday evenings back now, so you don't have to stay here. I'm just going to give it a minute before we move to the next item on the agenda. Perfect. We were able to. Okay, so the following up on that, the next item on the agenda is appointment of the candidate to the vacant board position. So the position was, as we just heard, declared open due to Director Nelson resigning from that position. And a couple of weeks back, the board declared the position open and also invited community members who met the necessary qualifications to apply for that position. So we received 4 applicants who interviewed at the public work session. I want to personally thank each of those 4 applicants. Mr. Forrest X, he is in the audience today. Ms. Lisa Salatko, Ms. Maureen Madden, and Ms. Amanda Huber. All of you kind of rang the bell. Thank you for your willingness to serve in this capacity. Between the four of you, you checked multiple boxes. Several of you are not only parent, community members, volunteers, served on our district committees, had leadership roles in our community as well. So you brought enthusiasm, commitment, and passion through your engagement with the board and the community through this process. On behalf of the board and district, I want to thank you sincerely for wanting to serve on the board. Today, the board will have an opportunity to nominate an applicant and fill that vacancy. With that, I'm going to go to Director Bankus. Director Bankus, can you please make the motion for action item H2?
I move that the Board of Education appoint Amanda Huber to fill the vacant board director seat.
Second.
Moved and seconded, this is the motion that is in front of the board. That if Ms. Huber receives the majority board vote at this time, she will be the newly appointed board director to fill the vacancy. With that, I'm going to first open it up. The motion has been made and seconded by Director Jurgensen. Board, any comments at this point in time? Okay, seeing none, roll call please, Ms. Olson.
Director Bankus? Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. So congratulations, Ms. Huber. And Ms. Huber is in the audience today. You have the unanimous support of this board. So you will be filling this vacancy until the November 4th board elections and the subsequent board members that are elected and sworn in at that point in time. And now the next order of the business following that is going to be the formal oath of office. Mrs. Huber, it's time for you to take the oath of office as prescribed by state laws. Ms. Huber, and Ms. Huber is going to be joined at the podium by her husband, Brad, and she's got her kids with her as well. Let me get their names right. Will is here too. I thought Will wasn't going to be here. So Will is here. So Will, Ari, as I read your names, do you want to lift your hands up so we know who you are? Ari, okay, and then Isis, Neil, Callahan, Leaf, Braden. Did I miss anybody? Okay, thank you. Great. All of you are here to support Mrs. Huber, and it is my understanding that Braden and Isis, both of them collectively together are going to administer the oath of office. So if you guys can get behind your mom out there, all of you guys can get behind your mom. So, no. Braden and Isis, you stand on this side, and the rest of you get behind your mom up there. Great, awesome. Ms. Huber, you'll have to raise your right hand up, and I will turn it over to Braden. Are you going to lead? Okay, Braden, go ahead.
I state your name. I solemnly swear. I, Amanda Huber, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office. Of School District Director of Colorado Springs. School District 11 in the County of El Paso. To the best of my ability.
I do solemnly swear that I will hold with strict confidence.
Privilege and confidential information.
And will carefully keep and preserve. All records, books, and other property.
All records, books, and other property.
Of the said district that may come into my hands. And deliver the same. To my lawful successor in office. And I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws made pursuant thereof.
and the laws made pursuant thereof.
Congratulations. Thank you. Ms. Huber, I invite you to come and join us at the board dais, and kids and Brad, you can stay in the audience if you choose to. Oh, yes, we got to take a group picture, so. Mrs. Huber, congratulations again, and let me be the first one to address you by your title, Director Huber. And can you press the button up there? Ms. Art, can you help her? Okay. That's fine. There is no lava. There you go. Ms. Huber, do you have any comments that you want to share at this time?
I wanted to thank the board and the community for taking me in, and I look forward to working with all of the rest of you for the next 3 months. Very much appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. We look forward to working with you as well over the next several months. Thank you. So we jump right into it. So now we go on to the next item. The next item is the Mill Levy Override Oversight Committee Membership and Charge. Director Carey, can you please make the motion for action item H4?
I move that the Board of Education approves the fiscal year 2025-2026 member names and charges for the Mill Levy Override Oversight Committee as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This information was presented as a non-action item at the August board meeting. Since then, there has been one of the board committee meetings in August, and the list of charges and membership is there. Is there anything that you need to add?
We have nothing new to add. We have nothing new to add.
Okay, great. So we have several membership, committee membership and charges that follows this evening. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody that worked on the membership, and I know, Ms. Hartmer, you put together a comprehensive communication to the community, inviting them to fill out a form to be part of the various committees. And at the August meeting, the committee meeting that we had, the monthly committee meeting now, there were several new faces that were at the audience, so it was good to see some new faces out there. And I want to thank, and I see Spring Leak, the committee chair for membership, vice president of the DAC, and Marian Clausen as well, the DAC chair here. I want to thank all of you for the work that you guys did as well. Board, do you have any, I do want to mention to the board, the committee membership is, there are still some vacancies in some of the committees. As you look at the board agenda, you will be able to identify where the vacancies are. So community, this is an opportunity for you still to reach out to the District Accountability Committee chairs, Ms. Clausen or Ms. Leek. You can also reach the district support staff. If you are interested in serving in one of these committees, reach out to them and see if there is a vacancy that you can help fill. And so as the year progresses, there could be some new membership added, and if there are new membership that is added, it'll be shared with the board as to who are the new members that are being added to the committee at this point in time. So the item that is in front of the board is Mill Levy Override Oversight Committee membership and charge, and I see Mr. X too, who's in the audience. Thank you for your service, sir, as the chair of this committee. I truly appreciate, because there were a lot of new members in that committee earlier this month in August when we had that committee meeting. Board, any comments or questions on this particular item that is there? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The Mill Levy Override Oversight Committee charges and membership was approved by the board. I'm going to move on through the next items. Next is the Benefits Insurance Committee membership and annual charge. Again, Director Huber, this time, can you please make your motion for the next action item?
I move that the Board of Education approves the fiscal year 2025-2026 member names and charges for the Benefits Insurance Committee as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, no information to add in this regard. Any questions from the board on this committee membership? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The committee membership and charges for the Benefits Insurance Committee was approved by the board. The next is the District Personnel Performance Evaluation Advisory Council membership and charge. Director Ott, can you please make the motion for action item H6?
I move that the Board of Education approves the fiscal year 2025-2026 member names and charges for the District Personnel Performance Evaluation Advisory Council as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'm assuming there is nothing in this as well. If there is no questions from the board, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The membership committee and charges were approved by the board for the District Personnel Performance Evaluation Advisory Council. That's a mouthful. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, this is the District Accountability Committee, District Accountability Committee Budget Subcommittee, and the Accreditation Subcommittee. And Ms. Leek and Ms. Clausen are here as well. Director Hafley, can you please make the motion for action item H7?
Yes, thank you. I move that the Board of Education approves the member names of the fiscal year 2025-2026 District Accountability Committee, or DAC, the DAC Budget Subcommittee, and DAC Accreditation Subcommittee as charges as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any information that you need to share? Thank you again for your services on both those things. We will continue to work with you. I think the SAC training, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock? Okay. So I encourage all the school SACs to participate in it, and the information was shared with you. Director Jurgensen, you have. Director Jurgensen.
Just a quick thank you for your proactive action on the USIPs. I know that that was kind of like, we weren't hoping for that many, and so you guys are tackling them right away, and I just appreciate your communications on email, getting everybody to get in there with the feedback forms. So you got good progress deadlines, and we appreciate you guys doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys put in a lot of time and effort behind the scenes, so thank you for your time and effort and your volunteer service. Thank you, appreciate it. Seeing no further comments or questions, roll call, please.
Director Bankus? Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The DAC and its subcommittee membership and charges have been approved by the board. And again, an encouragement for the SAC committees to participate in the training session tomorrow at the Tesla Center tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We do have a couple of policies that was moved from non-action into action. Policy KLG and regulation KLGR. Director Jurgensen, can you please make the motion for action item H8?
Yes, I move that the board adopts the revisions to policy KLG and regulation KLG-R.
Second.
Moved and seconded. As mentioned at the top of the meeting, these items were moved from non-action to action because there was a timeline constraint that was attached with adopting this policy. I did talk to, for the board's awareness, I did talk to legal counsel Ms. Deb Menkins, and she strongly suggested that the board adopt this policy at this time as an action item because there are penalties that are attached if the board does not adopt this policy in a timely manner. Superintendent Gall, I'm going to go to Dr. X out here. Dr. X, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
Okay. Board, any comments or questions at this time? Director Ott.
Just a request. I know that the diligent community packaging is new for us, but if we could see, even in the non-action items, a clean, non-redlined version of what the policy will look like without the redlining, I would appreciate it. You know how picky I am. And I think in the next policy we're going to discuss, there might be some typos and things, which I'll gladly pass on, but I can't be certain because of the redlining and the way it sets up. So just being nitpicky over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what I hear from you, Director Ott, is that you have some format and typos and spelling, whatever.
Mostly on the next one. These two in particular were easy enough to read. But just, it's more of an informational piece, I guess, a point of order, really, or point of information, moving forward.
Okay, thank you. If you can share that information with the Dr. X, he can make sure that those format changes that you're talking about, this doesn't change in any way the substance of the policy. So, roll call, please, Ms. Olson.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber?
Aye.
Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The policies KLG, and board doesn't have to adopt resolutions or regulations, so it's just a policy, right?
We'll adopt a regulation if there is a legal requirement to do so. So in
Okay.
this case, you
In this case, you do. Okay. Policy KLG and regulation KLGR were adopted by the board this evening. Moving on to the next item, which are policies JRA, JRC, student records release. Director Bankus, can you please make the motion for action item H9?
I move that the board adopts the revisions to policy JRA-JRC.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, the same explanation that I gave to the previous agenda item applies to this. This requires timely adoption by the board, and that's why it was moved from non-action to action tonight. Anything to add from your end?
no additional comments.
Okay, great. Any comments from the board other than what Director Ott already shared? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Director Bankus?
Aye.
Director Carey?
Aye.
Director Hafley?
Aye.
Director Huber? Aye. Director Jorgensen?
Aye.
Director Malpacum?
Aye.
Director Ott?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The policy JRA JRC was adopted by the board this evening. Thank you. Appreciate it. That concludes our action item for this evening. Moving on to non-action items that are on the board agenda this evening. We have a couple of URA, that's Urban Renewal Authority, the TIF financing items that are in front of the board. Board members, I think most of us, Ms. Huber, you are new to the board at this time, and we can certainly catch you up on this if necessary at a later point in time, but most other board members have gone through this process with other projects in the past. With that, I'm going to, there are two different projects, and the first one that is going to be presented to the board this evening is going to be Odyssey at North Weber. Superintendent Gall, I'm going to turn it over to you to first to provide context.
Ms. Odom.
Okay, and we have Jariah Walker from the Urban Renewal Authority at this point in time, and so for the community's awareness as well, I serve on the Urban Renewal Authority Commissioner Board as a representative of school districts in El Paso County. So with that, Ms. Odom, I'll come to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Board of Education and Superintendent Gall. Before I turn it over to Mr. Walker to introduce his team, I just want to give a 1-minute overview for the viewing audience. Colorado Springs Urban Renewal Authority has asked the district to approve a tax increment financing for Odyssey at North Weber project. It's in the Craigmore neighborhood and is approximately 4.4 acres. The district's general fund does not experience a financial impact under the guidelines of Colorado School Finance Act. Any revenues not received from property taxes are backfilled by the state of Colorado. The district's bond and mill levy override funds do not receive a state revenue backfill. TIF agreements are a common mechanism that allow government entities to assist developers with the cost of public infrastructure improvements by allowing the difference of the property tax at the current assessed valuation and the property taxes at the post-improvement assessed valuation to be moved from the district general fund to the Urban Renewal Authority. So that's my overview for what a TIF agreement is. It's the same for the second presentation. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jariah Walker. He's the Executive Director for the Urban Renewal Authority, and he's going to introduce his team and give you a short presentation of what this project entails. And there is someone online, correct?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, School Board, Superintendent Gall. Thank you so much for having me here. Again, for the record, Jariah Walker, Executive Director to the Colorado Springs Urban Renewal Authority. This particular project we've been working on for about a year, and it lays within the, you might have heard of some studies that have been taking place in that North Nevada corridor between Fillmore and Garden of the Gods. We had Urban Land Institute come out and do a big study, and this particular project is within the area of influence from the data that's come out of that report, which should be released within the next week. With that being said, I also want to mention that with these agreements, there are required documents that we have to have in your packet. So the impact report, the blight study, the overall URA plan. The consultant that did that work is Andrew Knutson and Sarah with EPS. Andrew is the one who's online. So if for some reason any board member has a question, I promised your board president that we would be efficient with our time. So I didn't want to have him have to go through the whole presentation, but if there is a particular question that you have on this, please feel free to ask, and he's online and would be happy to answer. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and bring up the developer for this project, Mr. Drew Geiser with Blue Truck Capital, and he's going to talk a little bit about this project, how it's helping meet the missing middle class as it comes to housing, and what it ultimately means to the Craigmore neighborhood. Thank you. Drew?
Thank you guys very much for having me tonight. My name's Drew Geiser. I'm with Blue Truck Capital. I'm one of the partners on the development for this project, and I'm just going to jump into it, and I hope I can work this. There we go. All right, so our development's a 4.4 acre site located in influence area of the new North Nevada master plan that the city has out there. We're going to be building 120 new multifamily units with a leasing office, workout. What we're targeting for is workforce housing. So it's not affordable housing and it's not market rate housing. It's based in the 80 to 120% AMI. So a lot of people want to know what that looks like. That looks like teachers, firefighters, police officers, the people that make too much for assistance but not enough that they can live in the market rate of the more expensive housing. That's pretty important to me. My background came from public service. I was a son of a teacher who worked 35 years up in Denver. So as we look at that, that was kind of how we fell into this space. So right now, some of the design aspects for it, it's on this triangular lot up there in the North Nevada, 12 dwelling units per building as opposed to the typical 24. We think that brings a little bit lighter density feel to the area, especially since we're transitioning from single family houses into where we are. This is from the Colorado Division of Housing, just to show what we're talking about the missing middle. It's kind of that in-between area where a lot of housing isn't developed right now just because of the lack of programs outside of whatever's going on in the economy. Here's the location. You can see the arrow there. We're right on the border of the north zone of the renewed Nevada plan. One of the things that has come up with a lot of questions is the abundance of apartments in Colorado Springs right now. This was from one of our third-party market studies for our financing with HUD. This shows that there's been about a 5.7-year supply for 3 years worth of demand in Colorado Springs as a whole. When this study was done, that's changed and the absorption's come back. But our primary area shows that we actually only have 1.8 years of supply for 3 years worth of demand. So where we are, we're actually in an area that needs housing and hasn't had any housing delivered in a long time. This just goes over how we fit in with the plan for North Nevada and the Renew. This is some of the public infrastructure improvements that we'll be making. The Cragmore area is going to be terminated into a cul-de-sac, kind of eliminate that intersection, having the 4 points there and making it a little bit safer. We'll also widen North Weber Street as we go forward and work on the stormwater crossing over. So the viability of it, we're currently working through a HUD 221D4 development loan. We're well into that process. We've completed all the third-party reports. We're through in permitting right now with regional, and we've approved through the city with the development plan.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you.
Well, the only thing I wanted to add for the board, this project did get approved by the county commissioners just yesterday, actually with Commissioner Nelson, which was fun for us, but we got through that on a 5-0 vote. We plan on being at the library district next month, and then ultimately we're trying to get this to city council before year end.
Okay, thank you. Board, any questions or comments at this point in time? Director Jurgensen.
Just a quick question on the neighbors there. When will they be aware of this project, or have they already been notified?
So during the development plan with the city, they've all been posted, noticed, and approved already.
Okay.
It's been with the city already.
And do those posts like on the actual land? Is that where they post at, or?
The part of the planning commission for the development plan is that we have to put posters up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I know that there's been other, we had an elementary school there that we turned into the West Edge Apartments, and there's another apartment complex in that same neighborhood. So I was wondering on how we notified neighbors, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So help me recollect this, just following up on Director Jurgensen's question. At this time, there is no occupant in that property itself?
No, it's a vacant
lot.
It's vacant lots.
Yeah, and part of Urban Renewal Authority is to take blighted areas or areas that are identified as blighted areas and to bring about renovation to that area and also the surrounding neighborhood.
Correct, and they use a third-party consultant for that, and I believe we hit 5 of the 7.
Yep. Director Art.
Thank you. What is the timeline for your project? I'm sorry if I missed it. I was just curious, when do you expect it to be done? And part of the reason I ask is if it's multi-family housing, maybe we'll have some students that we can look forward to.
Absolutely. We are hoping, and this is construction, but hoping for first quarter next year.
Wow.
We finalize this process and the financing.
But for finishing the construction?
Start construction, and then it would be 18 months.
Okay, thank you.
So a couple of years from now, we can expect. Dr. Bankus.
Yes, I wanted to be more specific on the average size of the apartments. I saw the slide that said on the average 932 square feet. So can you give me an idea of the square footage for a 3-bedroom apartment in this complex?
Absolutely. And I'm going to go from memory, so I'm going to be approximate, but it's about 1,100 square feet is where it is. And one of the things we did in this is, you'll see it's called the unit mix, how many 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms you have. We're heavy on the 3 bedrooms comparative to your typical development. So we have 2 bedrooms are the primary, and then 3 bedrooms, and then 1 bedrooms as far as the number of units.
I see, thank you.
I think all those information is in the packet too that you shared.
I
with the
didn't
board.
see it.
Yep. Just if you need all that information, you can also look at that at your convenience, Dr. Bankus, whenever. Any other comments or questions at this time? And this is a project, when completed, could benefit several of our families, including teachers who are in the market for housing at this point in time. Seeing no other questions at this point in time, board, this will come as an action item at the October board meeting. Okay, a month from now, it'll come in the first week in October. In the meantime, between now and October, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can help answer you that questions or connect you with Jariah, especially Ms. Huber. You are new to the board, and we are happy to answer any of your questions, myself or Jariah, to get you caught up on what it is. Again, to the community, this is not going to impact our school districts because of the backfill that we get from the state. And this is going to help renovate our neighborhoods and community out there as well. Thank you. Appreciate you being here, Mr. Geiser. To you, Mr. Geiser, and to the next developer that is going to come and present to us as well. We always look for opportunities that can benefit our students along the way. If there are opportunities as this project goes along where students can be use this as a learning opportunity for internships, please contact us and let us know. It's something that we as a school district cherish, that we can promote students.
Yeah, absolutely. Any way we could cooperate in that.
Yep. Please keep in touch with Mr. Odom and Superintendent Gall as well, and let us know. Thank you. The next is going to be an urban, again, an urban renewal authority. It's a different project. This is going to be the Moreno and Cascade School District property tax increment revenue agreement, and this is going to be downtown area, right by the soccer stadium out there, right around that vicinity area. And this is going to be for a hotel development that comes there, along with potentially housing development as well further down the road. Mr. Walker, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Malpacum. Again, for the record, Jariah Walker, Director of the Urban Renewal Authority. I had mentioned that we've been working on the last project for about a year. I think my buddy Jeff Finn would agree that we've been working with Norwood on Southwest Downtown for probably about 10 years. This area has been a long scope of development. We've had great partnerships with developers in this area, everybody from Widener to Norwood along Moreno Avenue. And really, Moreno Avenue has been a goal of the Urban Renewal Authority to really extend the pedestrian experience and what that looks like to Switchback Stadium, what that public plaza looks like, all the way up through downtown in the trolley block area. This particular project, the Urban Renewal Authority is excited about because it brings two unique features to this area, one of which is the Catbird Hotel, which I'll let Mr. Finn come up and speak to, but it also presents a unique opportunity for some added attainable housing in that area too, something that matches the Mill Street neighborhood, which is just to the south of the property. So with that being said, again, happy to answer any questions, but I want to bring up Mr. Jeff Finn with Norwood Development, and he'll be going through this project in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, board members and President Mal Packham. My name is Jeff Finn. I'm Senior Vice President at Norwood Development Group. We are a family-owned real estate development company focused only here in the Pikes Peak region. 96% of us is focused in the city of Colorado Springs, and the other 4% of us is focused in the city of Fountain. So happy to share for the next 60 minutes this presentation with you. I joked with Jordan earlier.
You showed up at 4 o'clock today.
I will fly through these slides, but I do think it's worth the context for you all to really understand the overall project. On the screen before you is a picture of what's called the New South End. The New South End is, as Dry was saying, is kind of situated on the southern end of downtown, east of Widener Field. West of actually a lot of residential development that is in and around kind of where the police headquarters is, along Rio Grande and Weber and Wasatch. A little bit of the history, which I always kind of find interesting, which maybe some of you have history roots, is that this area of downtown really was part of the original annexation for the city of Colorado Springs. So it was, you can see in the old maps from the late 19th century that in the outline of the urban renewal area is that this was actually kind of predominantly for rail. We had a trolley service and a train car service that ran throughout downtown. Some would like to bring that back, but really the history has really kind of expressed itself. You guys might be familiar with the trolley block, which is the revitalization. Not ours, but certainly am a customer of many of the restaurants and establishments there. We did develop early in our kind of involvement in the area and in the neighborhood, the Mayon Cascade, which is a 178-unit luxury project, not attainable like the previous presenter was talking about, but really started to establish this area, these two investments, and started to establish really a significant amount of investment in and around the neighborhood. And I won't go into too much detail on here, but there are a lot of folks that have kind of worked on the revitalization efforts. A couple of those dots are ours. I'd like to point out too that in this slide, all of the significant investments that were and have been made in the area have either an urban renewal designation or an agreement with a similar TIF agreement with the Downtown Development Authority. I serve as vice chair of the Downtown Development Authority, and so we are proud as a fellow taxing entity in the DDA to partner with our property tax increment to create such momentum over the last decade. Specifically, if you zoom in on the intersection of Cascade Avenue, South Cascade Avenue and West Moreno Avenue, the area that is outlined, which kind of looks like a jagged piano keyboard, is the proposed urban area. I will tell you that it looks like that because we don't own the properties that are not shaded. So we are only proposing to place the urban renewal designation on properties that we own and adjacent right-of-way that actually does need to be improved as part of the overall kind of development. Dry had kind of talked about the definition of blight. It's not, even though this area has received a lot of investment, this happens to be the right-of-way in front of the Catbird Hotel and adjacent to the Catbird Hotel. And so it is grossly deficient with its infrastructure. So you think about what does your tax increment actually go to? It goes to improving public improvements that are above and beyond the property lines of the project. And I have to put out, make a note that, yes, that is an active phone booth. I think the only one, it's to call 911 in case there's an emergency at the Acorn Petroleum Station right next door. I don't know if it's going to stay or not. I think I want to talk to you about two projects. One is well along the line, and one is in formation right now. We had the privilege to partner with Sage Hospitality. Sage, you may know of some of their hotels in Denver that are kind of iconic and notable in the downtown area. They own and operate close to 100 hotels like this across the country. And this concept of Catbird, which is a for lack of a better term, because I'm not one, a hipster extended stay hotel that if you think about a residence inn that has kind of a full living experience, they do that, and they do that in a much cooler presentation for a segment of our population that we're kind of are your graduating students and their peers. And so this will be the second Catbird. It's Sage's plan to roll out 15 Catbirds across the country, and they're starting their second Catbird here in Colorado Springs, which is quite an honor. That's not how it usually happens. This is an image of Catbird, so it's 181 keys. Your comment says 100, or your commentary says 180. There is one kind of unique living experience called the Klee House, which is in the lower left-hand corner. But this truly is a unique amenity to the neighborhood. I think most hotels, are for guest and for guest only, and this is actually, yes, it's for guests, but it's actually also the ground floor, and in particular, some of the rooftop experience is definitely for locals and wants to be known as a local experience. I won't go into the floor plans very, very specifically, but on site we do have public parking in a structured garage. We have a courtyard, as well as a number of kind of lobby experiences. This is actually kind of interesting too from the Mill Street neighborhood's perspective, because this will offer grab-and-go options for the Mill Street neighborhood, which don't actually exist right now, other than in the Coffee Exchange a block and a half or kind of around the corner. 7 stories in total. 5 of those stories. 7. No, it's not 70. So we're stepping down from 27 stories to 7 stories here. Sorry, I had to take a jab. Sorry. The predominant mix really is it's kind of like a micro unit. It's a 350 square foot traditional guest room experience, but the room actually transforms as your living experience. And so the bed is elevated for storage. There's kind of a full kitchenette experience. And then as you kind of go on to the ground floor spaces, the Catbird Kitchen kind of offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus late night beverages, not for students, for adults. But then also the courtyard experience. And can answer any more questions specifically about the Catbird Hotel, but I'm really kind of also excited about the second opportunity here. So across the street, just to the south of Moreno, we own roughly 6 of the 9 parcels, and we have been working in partnership with the Mill Street neighborhood. If you know the Mill Street neighborhood, it's one of the most economically disadvantaged neighborhoods in our community. They might be poor in income, but they are rich in love, and it has been really an honor to actually get to partner with them to really help bring more housing into their neighborhood specifically. We've been partnering and working on really the foundation of a partnership, and looking at I think 7 or 8 of those, I can't count from where I'm standing, of different land assemblages that can house the kinds of housing that they are asking for. They're asking for senior housing, they're asking for affordable housing, they're asking for long-term age-in-place residencies. And so we're working with Elevation Community Land Trust out of Denver, the Pikes Peak Real Estate Foundation here locally, Habitat for Humanity in the neighborhood, to really create a housing plan of which the neighborhood is a part of. Now, a lot of people kind of say, Norwood, the for-profit side, how do you figure out how to do this? I think we work on all spectrums of housing. I'm proud that we have one of the highest per square foot rents with the May. I'm also proud that we have one of the lowest square foot rents in Greenway Flats on Springs Rescue Mission's campus. And so we need housing for all at every income level, not just those that can afford it, but also not just for those who are desperately in need, for everyone. So I think my colleague here was talking about the missing middle. This is actually a diagram of the missing middle, and we're looking at size and scale that's appropriate to the neighborhood. And in particular, what we have modeled, which we do not know what this project is actually going to be yet, and I think we would come back and talk to you and inform you of what the project would be once we do know, but we're on this process with the neighborhood to develop that this site where it says Resi can hold in a higher density through its zoning roughly 90-ish units. That's in a five-story building. Does not mean that we're going to do that. It just means that that's what the zoning can help. So talked a little about Catbird, talked about the residential, and do you have any questions?
Thank you. Appreciate your presentation to the board at this time. One of the things I do want to compliment you, serving on the URA board, this Mill Street neighborhood was really active. They showed up at the URA meeting with banners, posters, but it looks like they had that positive engagement with you, and you've been working with them collaboratively in finding solutions that fit that neighborhood. So appreciate the collaborative conversation that you are having with the Mill Street residents. Board, any questions on this project at this time? Director Jurgensen.
So if you go to one of your top slides, the A1, is that where you're proposing the hotel?
Yes.
Sorry.
You can answer that.
Yeah, a couple
And the
more.
B,
right there.
yes, that one.
So
Yes.
the A1 is the hotel.
A1 is the hotel site, and then
the-
B1, 2, 3, and 4 are the Resi sites, and then we own B5. So we'll figure out something fun to do with that.
Okay, so are you just proposing to close down the Moreno Avenue for those the C people there that own homes there, or that hotel's going to be right in A1 only?
Hotel is on A1 parcel. We fully own that parcel. And Moreno Avenue is closed to our west between the stadium and the Experience at Epicenter.
Okay.
But it will remain open to cars and pedestrians between Saguache, which is to the street to the left, and then Cascade.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So it's not going to be closed. That street is not going to be closed, but it's part of the urban renewal designation. So some of the dollars would go to the development of that road and the area around it, artwork or whatever it is that goes out there.
And the soccer field is on this very far left bottom corner, that
To
silver
the
line?
west, I think. Yes,
Okay.
right up there.
Okay, it's that one. Okay. All right. And C1 and C2 are staying there. You're building just on A1.
We do not own C1, C2, and so we can do nothing with C1,
Yeah.
C2.
It's the scale, you have to kind of figure it out, because like a hotel, you think is a lot of property based on your renderings, and
Actually,
There you
this
go.
site is actually too big for Catbird, which is shocking, I know. But the Catbird and Rhino is on half the size of the site that we're building on.
wow. Okay, thank you.
Director Art.
Thank you. I'm so glad Director Jorgensen asked those questions, because that's exactly what I was wondering. And you touched on the fact that things are unknown. So just to confirm, you don't yet know what you're doing with B5 in this picture either?
Do not know what we're doing with B5.
Okay, but presumably something where you are talking with that community.
The conversation with the community is about our property, but it's also about other people's property that we are going to be partnering with and help. So those dots that are kind of scattered, were scattered throughout the neighborhood, those are consolidated parcels, meaning people have already kind of bought a number of either homes or vacant land and own those under the same ownership. And so we're actually working with those property owners, not necessarily as a developer, but as a kind of a community housing partner to help kind of bring about a variety of housing solutions. So B5, I will just tell you, we are thinking could be a Habitat for Humanity parcel, which Habitat has a certain scale that they do, which is different than, you know, kind of some of the other logos up there that were up there. And so for our B1 through B4, we are looking at a higher density solution. The neighborhood, in theory, and I say the theory because they're not here, is in support of higher density solutions where zoning allows and the use supports their plan. And so, did I say that right? Okay. And so we know that B1 through 4 will either be, it will be a residential project, it will be either for rent or for sale. We're looking actually at a condo opportunity that's an affordable condo opportunity, but no promises just yet. We will come back with the plan when it's time.
Okay, thank you.
So, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to get clarity on that last sentence, because every time the board has made a decision on URA projects, they have been 99% in how they were presented. The A1 is very clear to the board, but the board will get an opportunity to opine on B1 through B4 and B5? And then if not, then why are they not separated into the board just voting on the A1 property at this time?
Sure. So we know that the B1 through B4 is going to be attainable housing. That much we know. It's just how we work with the neighborhood and how, you know, for instance, you know, Jeff had mentioned that they support a very, very high density. I was actually, frankly, surprised at how high of a density that neighborhood wanted, and we still have to work with them on the scale of that, how big it becomes, et cetera. But we do know it's going to be attainable housing. We do know that A1 piece will be the hotel. So the board would be approving the overarching URA boundary and URA plan with increment going to that area with the knowledge that it'll be attainable housing on those pieces. So that would be the ask for the board when we come back to the next meeting. But that part, how many of those units, that's still being massaged with the neighborhood. But for time's sake and to capture that increment, that's why we're moving it forward now. But you'll notice in your packets, there's in the impact report, we outline the different phases of this project, phase 1, phase 2, the increment that we project is going to be coming to both of those. All of that financial information, even though there is the backfill mechanism, is within your packets. That data is in there.
And as was discussed with the previous project that was presented, this also went through the county commission and was approved?
This one has not gone through the county commission yet. This is actually the first time that this project has been, excluding the URA board, out into the public. We expect the county commissioner meeting, I believe, to be at the end of this month. Yeah, we'll be at the county by the end of this month.
And then possibly by the end of the year with city council?
Hoping for the end of the year with city council too. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions at this time from the board? I don't see any other questions at this time. So this is going to follow the same timeline with this board. This will come at the October meeting as an action agenda item. Board members, if you've got any questions after looking at your packet between now and October, please reach out to me and I can follow the questions to Mr. Walker.
And I'll offer you, use my schedule, you know, and coffees, whatever, conversations. I'll make myself available to any board members.
Yep.
Or the superintendent as well.
Yep.
Thank you
And
so
the same request that I made with the previous one, with this one as well, there are plenty of opportunities here to partner with the school district in terms of student internships or student beneficial opportunities out here. And looks like Jeff wants to add something to that. If there are opportunities that present itself, please reach out to our district administration and we can make that happen.
Yeah, I wanted to say, just on behalf of our ownership, we enjoy and are thankful for the partnership that we have with D11. And we don't need an urban renewal project to, kind of offer that, that partnership with students. I'm not a program manager in the sense as you guys are, and so really any time from construction, I actually do want to point out that Catbird has a robust art program that I did not talk about, and more than 50% of the art will be curated locally within, so that's paintings, mixed media, sculptures, and it was just on a call yesterday with our curator, 9 Dot Arts, and they were actually thought it would be a great idea to maybe have a unique partnership specifically with the Catbird Hotel and Palmer's art program, and not to single out other schools, but Palmer's our downtown school, and so plus you can color on our sidewalks anytime.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Our students are, as you saw, we presented one of our artwork earlier this evening. Our students are excellent artists. So there are opportunities here for our students to benefit from. And you don't need to develop a program. The district can help you with that if there are opportunities to partner with Superintendent Gall's team. Thank you again for being here, both of you, Mr. Geiser and Mr. Finn and Walker. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, that concludes the non-action agenda items for this evening. Moving on to the future agenda items, tasks, requests from board members at this time. Director Carey, you are up first.
This isn't really a request so much as just a update to the community. One thing that the board has talked about on 2 consecutive retreats now is kind of this question of feedback loops between the board and high-level district administration. We know, the teachers of us on the board know that rapid feedback loops are really key to student learning. And we talked earlier in the meeting today about how feedback loops for teachers are part of, developing their own talent and getting good at the job. And so we've been talking in board retreats about how do we provide more frequent feedback loops for administration to keep us updated on how strategy is progressing and how things are going. So I will be working to kind of develop a specific language to task administration with, and you will see that at a future work session, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that update. So this is not a new agenda item that you are requesting, more an update to the community. When that process is complete, let me know about it, then we can work it into the work session agenda. Director Ott.
Thank you. Just following up on the board retreat, wanted to make sure that the energy project we discussed in June and August, and from the audit that's been going on for 2 or 3 years, that we have that on a future work session agenda. Just following up.
Yeah, thank you. And if I recall, that was the feedback from the board that evening, and I can certainly ask for a thumbs up on this subject matter, that board members expressed that they would like a little further discussion. The discussion will be more focused on the finance mechanism that potentially could fund this project, whether it is going to be through the loan EPC, I think the energy performance contracting, or defer until the bond, which the board is seriously considering at this point in time. So that's your request at this time?
Yes.
Director Ott? Yes. Okay. That's board. Is this something that you would like to come as a discussion further? Yes, I see several thumbs up, and this will come as a work session item at a work session. Director Hafley and I meet with Superintendent Gall tomorrow, so we will find a future work session for it to be scheduled.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I know that if we do decide to do the contract, then we can start saving money and energy sooner rather than later. So I appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
That's the point of discussion at the work session. Okay, thank you. Seeing no further future agenda item request, so upcoming meetings, events, we are going to have work sessions on September 10th, 17th, and 24th. A lot of that is going to be looking at the work session agenda is going to be filled with looking at state testing CMAS data that became public this week. Was the embargo was lifted, but we will look at a deep dive on that data and also identify the schools that the board has to approve the school improvement plans for, and that will come up in the following couple of weeks. The DAC accreditation committee is already looking at those USIPs, so stay tuned as those information come to the board, and then be prepared for those discussions the subsequent 10th, 17th, and 24th. And on the 24th, we'll also have a special meeting to put some of those USIPs as a non-action agenda item so it can be approved by the board in a timely manner by October when it's due to the state. Okay, with that, seeing no further business, if there are no objections, this meeting will adjourn at 8:23 p.m.